out of Akron, Ohio, representing Team Popping the Boys, the headline god, Jeremy Lambert, and his co-host, speaking out of Atlanta, Georgia, representing more than one royal family, the king of indie viewing, Stephen Jensen. And this is the Spotlight on Fightful.
Hello, welcome everyone to the Spotlight. Shout out to Big Dick MLJ for providing the intro. Shout out to Gisberto for providing the thumbnail. I'm Jeremy Lambert. That's Stephen Jensen. Jensen, it's been a week in professional. It's been a year in professional wrestling already, but this week certainly has been something else. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. There's a lot to talk about today. A lot going on. 2023 is nuts. I'm really looking forward to today's show for sure.
Guys, we appreciate everybody joining us in the chat. Leave a comment, leave a super chat, leave a thumbs up on this video, subscribe to the channel. If you leave a super chat, you get your question, comment, statement read on air. We also just like interacting with the chat, so leave us a comment. We'll comment with you. We'll banter with you. Let's get into it, Jensen. Big topic to kick off the show. Here we go.
Be a professional wrestler, or do you want to be a WWE superstar? WWE superstar sounds a whole lot better to me than being a professional wrestler.
The biggest news of the year potentially happened within the first 2 weeks of the year. Dominik Mysterio went to prison, served about a week or so, and now he is out. He knows what Martha Stewart feels like. I mean, the man has changed, Jensen. He's a changed man after being in prison. What do you think about this? Do you think he's okay after this?
Oh man. So I haven't seen a lot of this, but just to be completely transparent, I've seen clips, I've seen pictures, of course. But you can confirm this for me, because based on the little bit that I've seen, like, it's very tongue-in-cheek, right? Like, even like the WWE audience and like even like the people involved, like, they know it's corny. They're not taking him seriously, right? Like, he's not supposed to be taken seriously as like a tough, like, badass, right? Like, it's like
jail. Do you think jail is not to be taken seriously, Jensen?
Not in the scenario in which they're trying to present it. No. I don't think that what they're trying to, like, it's just really, it's funny. It's funny. Like, I tweeted a clip in response to WWE. Like, they put up a picture of this. This is like how it all kind of got on my radar, actually, to be honest, was they put like pictures up recently of Dom wearing like a bandana over his mouth and stuff, and like, trying to look tough. And I tweeted a video underneath it, because all it reminded me was, I don't know if have you seen 22 Jump Street?
Yeah.
I sent you. I showed you but it all reminded me was that giant meme, like that scene, that My Name Jeff scene.
My name Jeff.
That's all it reminded me of. Was like I can't remember the name of the movie, but Jonah. I can't think of his real name either now. Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
Who I still remember most from Grandma's Boy, by the way. It's so wild. But yeah, Jonah Hill, he's like, he's the Mario Sleepy. They say he's like the Mexican Wolverine. It's so funny because he's doing it so poorly, right? And that's why it's so funny. And then of course, My Name Jeff, and it's just like that. That's how it feels like seeing Dom trying to act tough, or act hard, or whatever term you want to use. But I think it's funny because like the internet loves it. Like they love talking about it. So I mean, that's, I guess that's a win for the WWE, I guess. But how do you feel about it as somebody who's definitely seen more of this than I have?
Like, it's great because it's so, I think they are leaning into, like, they know it's kind of corny. You see Priest cracking up, Balor's cracking up. Rhea's like trying to hold it together, but she slipped a couple of times. They know it's kind of corny. Like, the snitches get stitches. Now I know how Martha Stewart feels.
I heard that. When I heard the Martha Stewart line, I was like, this is ironic. Like, they're clearly like, they wouldn't say this if they were trying to be serious. Yeah.
Miz was dropping the Dementors from the Office prison.
They've actually leaned into prison mic on television. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I mean they a little bit. Like Dom probably like maybe could have done a better job and everything, but Miz knew what he was doing in that. So they're leaning into kind of how corny it is. Yes, he had a tiny teardrop tattoo as well. Like they get it. I think it's fine. I think it's funny. There's nothing wrong with it. Kate says correct, but he can't act. Who cares? None of these people can act. Who's winning an Oscar in WWE? Right? He can wrestle. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world. You see his frog splash compared to Montez Ford. Montez Ford was so afraid of his frog splash being compared to Dominik's. He busted out a 450 in that match. He's like, nope, can't do a frog splash because people are going to realize that I don't do it as good as Dominik. Complete cowardness on Montez's Ford part.
What a coward. What a coward. Go for the more impressive move out of fear. I think that I shouldn't say more impressive. Well, I mean, I do think a front flip, a 1.5 front flip is more impressive than just splashing someone. But I will say, like, overall, like Eddie Guerrero's frog splash, I'd take over probably anyone's 450, like the way he hit it. I'd say the same thing about I think Randy Savage's flying elbow drop still the best move in wrestling history. Like, it's my favorite. A million people did an elbow drop, but like the way he did it, I thought was just perfect.
CM is good.
Oh, he has the worst one easily hands down by far. It's not even close. And that's not even me being a hater. Like, his elbow drop is terrible. He's one of those dudes who always oh, there we go. He's one of those dudes who always lands either misses completely or lands before he hits his opponent, and it's just like super obvious that it's in his form is very, very poor. Like there's no like posing or like any theatrics in the air heading to the opponent. You know, he just kind of goes up in the air and then kind of flails around a little bit. And usually it doesn't even look like he's hitting an elbow. It's more of like a forearm, or it's kind of like landing sideways on someone kind of after he's already hit his feet or his knees onto the ground. Anyways, yeah, that's me addressing my enemies there. Oh, you want to hear me address enemies? I mean, if you really want to hear me address enemies, we can talk about Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy some more, because like that stuff is the funniest to me.
Have you come around on it? Like, are you in on Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy?
Oh no, it's way worse than that now, because now I've dug deeper a little bit into like the lore of what's like what the fan base seems to want, and like how much they've dug into like investigating this. I know there was like a lot of investigation whenever they were doing like the White Rabbit stuff. That was the point, right? It was like QR codes and like vagueness and mystery, and that was the whole point. It was like you were trying to crack the code. Now it's like, this is my impression of probably children. You know, I should say this, I'm not making fun of children who did, but if you're around my age and this is you. Oh my god! Uncle Howdy has the same earring on that Bo Dallas had on in a promo one time. Oh my god! Hold on a second. Hold on. Did you know that Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt are brothers and IRS is their dad? Oh my god, hold on a second. Where's Curtis Axelman? Wait, whoa. What if the B team is involved in this and their Uncle Howdy? Oh my god. What if? And I'm just sitting here going, if Bo Dallas returning is like this, is like your magnum opus, like you're like that, like that's like if Bo Dallas appeared and was Uncle Howdy, that like you would like this? Like that would be a giant like, oh my god, I can't believe they finally put Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas together. And then what? And now you got Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel as a part of it. I mean, it's just like, I'm not saying that's where it's going. I'm just saying I see that so many people get excited about that. And I'm like, you really get excited about the idea that Bo Dallas might be Uncle Howdy? Like, that's the best case scenario?
Why are you gatekeeping Bo Dallas fandom?
Because I think that, you know, it probably wouldn't go over super huge if it was him. That's why. Because listen, I like Bo Dallas in NXT. And I like the Bo Leave stuff actually too.
Greatest NXT champion of all time. I
thought it was very corny, but like in the perfect way. It was meant to be. Like I like the Bo Leave stuff. I thought that was good. Good looking dude. I thought he was gonna be like way bigger than what they did with him in the WWE. My point though is the B team were like absolute jobbers, right? Like listen, I can say the same stuff about Curtis Axel. I like Curtis Axel too.
We're all tag team champions.
Yeah, Curtis Axel was the Intercontinental champion at one point. I know, but like like that's what people are getting excited about potentially is like, oh my God, he wore the same earring as Bo Dallas. And if this is Bo Dallas, then what? It's like, then what? Then it's Bo Dallas. Like that's like, that'd be a big deal to you. Anyways. Yeah, that stuff's just really, really strange to me how excited people are getting over this kind of stuff. Also, did the WWE sale? I'm kidding. We're not going to talk about the sale. But any sale news? Says Nick Rose. No,
I mean we are like,
yeah. We'll talk about Vince. But that's probably I got all that on my system. The non. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about Dom or anything?
Nah, he rules. He should win the title. He should dethrone Roman and go back to prison and give like speeches of like, this is how prison can change you and reform you, and you can get out of here and you could accomplish your dreams. Everybody, you could dethrone the head of the table and become the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. All you got to do is believe in the system, the prison system, and work hard, and you can change yourself in prison.
Dude, well, I'll say this. I will unironically say this. As goofy as the prison Dom stuff is, it is better than what they were doing with him before. Okay, I will say that. Like him just being like the son of Rey Mysterio, who nobody thinks is good and like shouldn't be like representing the Mysterios. Like I'd rather be whatever they're doing now than like just constantly compared to my dad and just being told I'm no good over and over again by the fans.
Dude, Dom rules. Judgment Day is great. I hope they win all the titles. Put all the titles on the Judgment Day. Give Rhea all the titles. We got Balor, and I guess it's gonna be Balor and Priest. It might be Priest and Dom because they were the ones who won against the Usos. Again, Dom winning all the titles. We need the prison redemption storyline. I'm brilliant for this. Let me Barry Horowitz myself on that one. Before
Jewish legend Barry Horowitz.
Before we get into the other topic here, Van Twin Blade says Curryman and Glory Pro. People at the show think that match was a trial for ROH. Watch it on Fight Plus. Listen to the Weekender on Fightful Select. Always listen to the Weekender on Fightful Select and check out Fight Plus as well.
I did talk about that match on Fightful Select Weekender this past weekend. So if you want to hear my thoughts on that, that's where to go. I appreciate you putting that in the super chat too. Curryman wrestled Dan the Dad. So I did imagine that was a good comedy matchup, but a very good like actual wrestling matchup. And I'm sure Dan was very happy to get that match.
Our other spotlight for WWE, Stephen Jensen, which I assume people want to hear about for some reason, is Vince McMahon is back on the board of directors. He was voted executive chairman. There were a lot of reports and rumors and innuendo about a sale to WWE. Stephanie McMahon has resigned as co-CEO, leaving just Nick Khan as the CEO. Triple H is still in charge of creative. All anyone really cares about when it comes to this topic is, how does this affect Cody Rhodes?
Right.
Stephen Jensen?
Exactly. Yeah. So that's definitely the most important thing going on here right now. I would say that the percentage chance I DM'd you something along the excuse me, I DM'd you something along the lines of all these fans that are on social media right now are like really freaking out because Vince is coming back and everyone thinks this is a really bad idea, really bad like net negative for the WWE overall, as a fan really. And what's the future of the company going to look like? But Vince was the owner of the company. He was in charge. He was running things when they brought Cody back in from AEW. I think this increases his statistical probabilities of becoming the champion again, or becoming the champion for the first time, I should say, in 2023. So yeah, that I think that helps the Cody probability. Would you agree that it probably do these chances went down, went up, or the same to be the champion this year with Vince coming back?
I think they're about the same because I kind of always think they were around 100%.
Love that.
Honestly, yeah. I think they were always going to go with Cody. Triple H and Cody like each other. Cody has said that, despite the throne smashing and everything, that Triple H was his favorite wrestler and stuff. So I think they were always going to go with Cody. I don't think Vince coming back really changes that at all. So I think Cody's good. I think of all the wrestlers, Cody is in the best position.
Yeah, I agree. And that's all I really need to say about Cody in the situation. And I really just did that to troll the few people that like to go in the comments and talk about how I dick ride Cody so bad. So that was for y'all. I'm just trolling y'all. Obviously the the Vince news, you know, we all assumed this was happening as far as like him coming back, or at least, you know, we could tell he was trying to come back, and it was just a matter of them like him like wearing them down or figuring out some sort of angle or the right people leaving so he can get back in. I don't know the ins and outs probably as well as you do or a lot of other people do, because I haven't paid as close of attention probably. But I would say, you know, it's just one of those things where like, is this true about how, or I guess it's been reportedly true that was like Stephanie, Triple H, and Nick Khan, were those three people that were initially voting no for Vince to come back, and then Vince did come back, and part of this was like Stephanie left, so like that vote I guess didn't matter, and then Triple H and Nick must have changed their minds or something, or like something had to have happened, right, for them to vote him in when they didn't earlier.
There were people who resigned from the board because they disagreed with Vince's decision to come back. The whole thing is, quite frankly, a mess. And, you know, Vince is now getting sued by shareholders for basically abusing his power and forcing his way back in. He wrote a letter to the board basically saying like, hey, if you don't let me back in, like, I'm just going to hold up all these media rights negotiations, and I'm not going to sign off on any of this, because he's still the controlling owner of the company thanks to all of his stock. I think he says he has 81% of control still. So he basically said, like, I'm not going to sign off on anything unless you let me back in. So he's holding the company hostage essentially with this move. And yeah, he got back in largely because of that. Like there's a lot to this. There's much smarter people than myself and Jensen when it comes to this. Brandon Thurston has done a great job covering it. I know Sean was on stream for 4 hours, and at the end it smoked a bunch of weed. I saw
him tweet that. I thought that was funny. Yeah.
The innovator was
game now. Can I just spark up?
You know, Jimmy Van talked about it yesterday. There are plenty of smart people out there who know more about this topic, covering this topic. My biggest concern is how it affects the wrestlers and the staff when it comes to WWE, because look, it seems like they're gearing up for a sale. They reportedly hired JP Morgan to help with the sale. There were rumors and reports of they had been sold. Like Tuesday night was insane because we had all the vague tweets and everything, and then Sean just outright came out with it. It was like, look, here's what is happening.
I'm sorry. I don't mute myself. I was just laughing about Tuesday night. That was the funniest night I've ever been on Twitter of all time.
Look, it was funny because there were just so many jokes people were getting off. Honestly, like, I found it hilarious. I was getting off my jokes as well. You know, I went directly to Vince McMahon. I tweeted him and I said, have you sold to Saudi Arabia? Didn't get a comment from WWE. So we can say that right here on the spotlight. We asked WWE about selling to the Saudis, and they didn't get back to us with a comment.
What's that
we have
mean?
that new credit the spotlight for that. Credit myself and Jensen on Fightful. We reached out to WWE. We were given no comment about a potential sale to Saudi Arabia. Tuesday night was insane with the jokes and stuff, which was great. You know, I was waiting. I was waiting for any type of news to break. There was the big rumor that they'd been sold to Saudi. They were going to be taken private. Our pal Cassidy Haynes at Body Slam said it was agreed in principle. I trust Cass. This is, you know, Cass has been right more often than not. This is obviously a big deal. It's always possible he heard bad information, didn't get great information, went with it, you know, and he ends up being wrong on this. It happens. Reporters are wrong. But, you know, typically I do trust Cass when it comes to something like this, when it comes to this monumental of a thing. I don't think a wrestling reporter or Kermit the Frog on fucking Reddit is going to be the people who break this news. All right. I don't think that's what it's going to be. And, you know, Steven Muehlhausen of DAZN, I like him. I've known him for many years. Not a great couple of weeks for him. And well, I hope he's okay, because as a person, you know, people are gonna comment and on his reports and stuff. He's still a human being. But yeah, I hope he's good. I hope he's good, and he should sit out trying to report wrestling news for a while, because not two big misses in the last 2 weeks.
What was the first one?
Mercedes being Soraya's partner. That was the first one.
That was reported like by a lot of people, though, to be fair, right? Like
he leaned in like hard on it.
Though. Oh, did he? Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
It was
I
like
like him
very
too, by the
much.
way. I don't know him very well, but like I've seen him break things before that were accurate. So like, you know, and he's worked with Fightful before, hasn't he? So like,
yeah, he's done.
So yeah, I mean, I like the guy, but yeah, that's too bad. That's unfortunate.
As far as getting back to Vince and the sale, like, I don't know what's going to happen. I do think they're going to sell. I don't know if they're going to sell to Saudi Arabia. If they do, that's terrible for the company. I don't think that's going to be great for the company. If they go private, how's that going to affect television deals? I don't know. If they sell to anybody else, it's better. I would assume it would be better if they sold to Disney, Amazon, whoever they might sell to. I think that would be better for the company. Biggest concern, always first, what I think everybody should be concerned about, wrestlers and talent, because any sale typically leads to a lot of cuts and, you know, a lot of people losing jobs. And that is always unfortunate, especially if they sell to Saudi Arabia. Talent, how do they respond to that? Sean has said he had heard from people that, you know, they would walk out. Easy to say, much more difficult to do when this time actually arises for that. I don't think a Saudi Arabia sale would be good for anybody but Vince McMahon, because, you know, he'll stand to make a lot of money off of this. I hope talent is just okay. It's a unprecedented time with WWE, everything going on. I can't imagine what they're actually going through and what the hell's happening over there. But I hope all the talent and all the staff at WWE is good. And I'm sure that it's just going to be kept in the dark and told everything is fine until everything's not fine, because that's typically how it works.
That is, yeah. That's how it worked for the UFC sale, if I remember correctly. Like
it worked for the WCW sale as well.
Yeah. The UFC one I remember a lot. Well, I mean, I obviously remember the WCW sale, but I was just much younger when it happened. But like, and didn't know as much about how like the business and stuff worked. But with the UFC sale, like there's a lot of similarities. You can go back to on episodes of this show and The Weekender and other various platforms, myself and Jesse and Doug and stuff. And like, I said for a while that I thought that the WWE was going to try to sell before their next TV deal. That was like my big thing. And the big reason was because I'd seen the UFC do a lot of similar things as far as like bring people in WWE's case, it was like Nick Khan and his people. And you come in and you start like cutting costs where you think that the company can look more valuable. And he did a lot of that. He changed a lot of stuff. They gave him a lot of power very quickly. And it isn't apples to apples, because like the UFC and the WWE sale, there are differences, excuse me, but there are a lot of similarities in where this has been so far and where I think it's going. And just like what you said, when the UFC sold to WME IMG, and I guess Endeavor, whatever, there was like a big group that bought it, and Ari Emanuel was like the head of it all. And basically, they came in and like I remember one of the first things they did was they looked at like their, you know, the pay sheet or whatever, and was seeing who they had on salary and who they were paying out and whatnot. And I remember like some of the first firings were guys like Chuck Liddell, like the guys that weren't fighting anymore, but like had been hired as like, they basically convinced certain fighters. You know, you remember this. It was like him, Forrest Griffin, Matt Hughes. There was a lot. They were
given office jobs because they were close to Dana for all those years, and Dana loved those guys, and he just figured out a way to keep paying them, basically.
Exactly, and it was also their incentive to not have to keep fighting. It was like, listen, like I know you want to keep going, but you don't have to fight anymore. We're going to give you a job with us. You get to work in the quote unquote office, which none of them did. I think Forrest Griffin might have had like a job in there. Maybe he's the only one who really was working, but like for the most part, it was like an ambassador role where like Chuck would, you know, show up and sign autographs and go sit front row at the shows and stuff like that. And the first thing they did was like, they came in and they fired like all those kind of guys. They were the ones that were loyal to the company and the company was loyal to. And that showed me right away. It was like, oh, this is just straight up strictly business. There is no emotion built into this. This is just cost cutting across the board and making changes. Now, the big difference that I think I've seen people kind of try to discuss online is a big part of the UFC sale was dependent on Dana staying. He signed like a 7-year deal or whatever at the time, and I think he extended it. But like, he must have, because it's been over 7 years, I think, since they sold. If not, it's been time's been flying, man. From 2020 to 2022, it's been 6. Okay, from 2020 to 2022, it's like 1 year for me because like the pandemic, like everything just blends together. So I'm thrown off by my recent years.
Same.
But I think that, I don't know, like I think that for them to get this deal done, if they are trying to sell to Saudi Arabia, it's dependent on Vince being a part of it. I think that's how they see it. I also think this is incredibly messed up, and I don't agree with this one iota. I want to make that very clear before I say this. I think if they are selling to Saudi Arabia, they probably don't want Stephanie in a high power position because they don't respect women, straight up. I'm sorry, I hate saying that. I don't think every single person in Saudi Arabia feels that way, but like it is what it is. I think that, it's a controversial thing to say, and once again, I cannot stress this enough. I do not agree with this at all. But like, I think that might have something to do with it. Like, Stephanie was a woman in a high power position, and Saudi Arabia probably wants to deal with men, and it's very messed up. But I think that, do you think that's fair to say that might be part of it?
I definitely think it's part of it. I think there's a lot when it goes into Stephanie's decision to resign, because we got to remember she had stepped down before the Vince news broke, and she said she was going to be taking time away, and then the Vince stuff came out, and then so she came back and was co-CEO, and now he's back, and so she resigns less than a week later. I think there's a lot because we've got Triple H's health stuff. She is still a mom. Like, being a parent is just difficult, especially when both parents are working tireless kind of hours in jobs. Vince comes back. There's a lot of history there with everything that has come out since June. Cheating allegations. He's now, it seems like him and Linda are not together. He's been photographed with a new woman. Like, how does she feel about all that? He has tossed Shane aside from the wrestling business because of the Rumble and everything last year. There's a lot of feelings there. I don't know if it was a Freudian slip or whatever it was. She said, there's obviously animosity. And then she corrected herself and said angst during the meeting with the staff and everything. So I think there's a lot of feelings, a lot of reasons of why Stephanie would want to step away and not be involved in this now that Vince is back. And I do think one of them is if they're talking to Saudi Arabia and it is getting there to potential sale, she doesn't want to be part of that. As much as I've heard they chanted "This is hope" for when they were over in Abu Dhabi, I think it was. Much as I've heard that story, like, yeah, Saudi Arabia doesn't want to deal with them. They can make all their progress and like, oh, we're doing great and we've had women's matches and all this stuff. Just look at their history. Look at what's going on over there. They want to talk to Vince and Nick Khan. They don't want to talk to Stephanie.
And that's the only reason I brought that up. And I didn't want to. I wanted your opinion too, because I wanted to. I don't want to feel like I was being like some like sexist in my own mind or something, and thinking that like that could be a part of it. But like it makes me think, man. Like because like you said, like there's a lot of stuff about what they do in a country like Saudi Arabia to try to convince the rest of the world that they're making big changes and that things are different and blah blah blah. And then you look the other way and you come to find out like no, it's all an act, And like I'm somebody who really believes a lot in human nature, like in like humans being good. Like I really think there's way more good people out there than bad people, and I think that even a lot of bad people can change, given the right circumstances. But like given the track record you just mentioned, like it just seems very very sketchy. Like if the WWE was owned by Saudi Arabia when they captured that journalist, you know what I mean? Like what does that look like for the WWE? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like it's very sketchy. Listen, it's the bag, and that's what it's all about, I think, at the end of the day. I think Saudi Arabia is going to offer them the most money. And that's what I think it all honestly just comes down to. And that's going to be the decision that Vince in the WWE needs to decide is like, the UFC sold for like $4 billion. I'd assume the WWE is probably worth about double that. Just a complete guess, but like they've been around a lot longer. They're super well established and worldwide presence. Like the WWE is like, it's like, you see that W, it's like the upside down M for McDonald's, right? It's super recognizable. You see that WW, it's World Wrestling Entertainment across the world. So like if they were going to get like $8 billion for the company from, whoever, someone in the US, I think that that's going to be very appealing. I think that like $8 to $10 billion is going to be a number that they're going to be interested in selling for. But what if Saudi Arabia came through, because they literally have unlimited money, and they're like, the offers out there are 10, we'll give you 20. And then they're like, and then the shareholders have to be like, oh, now like your morals kind of fly out the window, because now you're just trying to get the bag and get out of there. So that's, that's where I think it's at. Like, I think that there's going to be plenty of suitors that, not even just in the US, it doesn't have to specifically be the US. I guess I'm kind of assuming that would be the majority of where the interest would be. But like, it's just we're in a strange time, because like, I do think the WWE selling, I do think that, that it's going to be dependent on somebody sticking around, whether it's Vince staying in charge, or they're going to have to keep Triple H to be like the Dana White of it. I think somebody with a hand in how things have worked up at this point has to be involved at a high level for them to really understand what's going on. But how many people are going to want to do that? Like, does Triple H want to deal with Saudi Arabia? How many wrestlers, like you said, how many wrestlers are going to... And Sami Zayn's been very vocal about, and I think he has very good reason. I remember Danielson, when he was in the company, he didn't want to do those trips and stuff. And like, there's gonna be plenty of wrestlers who don't want to, and not even just that. How much of it makes you uproot and like spend way more time in Saudi Arabia on a deal like this? Like, how many people want to like uproot their family and have to spend more time in another completely other part of the world? Like I know they're doing it with golf. I know they're like, I guess they're dabbling with soccer and stuff like that over there, and they're trying to really westernize. I get that, but like, the golf thing, I don't think has been a very big success.
They couldn't. I think Jimmy Van pointed this out. Like, they couldn't land a U.S. media rights deal, and they got some big names in golf for that. And yeah, how does being Saudi owned like affect potentially landing a U.S. television deal? Watch WWE Raw on YouTube, everybody.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a weird. We're in a really weird, unprecedented. And by the way, I want to throw this out there too. Before Cass broke that news, he did text me, I'm sure he did the same for you. Like, we're buddies, and I was just like, dude, what is up with tonight? And he was like, dude, this is what I'm hearing. And he's like, I'm trying to like, confirm it from multiple sources, but like, this is what I'm hearing. And I didn't say anything, of course. And I was like, whoa. Like, if this is true, and then of course, like, within the next hour, the internet
you got a vague
exploded.
Tweet, Jensen. You got to throw out the eye emoji so people are like, "Oh, what's happening?"
I've made it really clear. I do not want to be a newsbreaker in wrestling. The only circumstances is if I'm very, very, very confident, and it has to do with like indie wrestling or someone I know really, really well. I think I've told you before. There's been like some fairly big news that I've sat on before that had to do with people signing from the WWE, and it was strictly because I was like, person who told me I totally believe, but like, if I'm wrong about this, nobody in this scene is going to like me. So like, I'm just not going to say anything. And it's not my job to break news, so like, that's obviously a big part of it too. That's something I have to do. But I'll tell you what, I totally agree with you. And this is nothing on Cass. He's one of my best friends as well. I love that dude, but like, this kind of story is going to get broken by like Wall Street. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's going to be like a big story if the WWE is selling.
A couple things. Cole McClendon says, first time tuning in. Hey, thanks. Hope you're enjoying yourself. Appreciate you joining us. Anime Otaku says, KSA brought in a woman to run the business side of an English football team that they bought. Look, I don't know anything about that. I'm not going to lie about that. Like, okay, if that's true, that's a good step. I don't know how involved she is. I don't know what she does day to day, but it's a step if that's the case.
And that's something I was unaware of as well, to be fair.
Appreciate that you bring that to our attention.
Maybe that does change maybe that doesn't have anything to do with Stephanie. Maybe, I don't know.
I think there are a lot of factors with Stephanie, but I would not be shocked if Saudi Arabia is one of those factors, and just her, and it could be from her side too, of like, I don't feel like dealing with this. Like, I just don't want to deal with this.
Well, also speaking of not want to deal with it, big news recently, Jay White looks like he's going to be free, and he's going to be courted by WWE and AEW. There's a lot of indie wrestlers that have eyes on them from both major companies right now. How does that affect their decision making? If WWE offers them a deal and they're like, I don't know, like, what's going on?
See, if if Saudi's got the money, like money's going to affect a lot of decision making for a lot of these people. Like, you know, I understand people in the chat are saying this, like, yeah, morals and yeah, we want to stand up for what's right. And then it's like, hey, let's throw on an extra zero here. And it's like, I got a family. I need that extra pull, in the words of Carl Anderson. Like, you know, the morals might go out the window when you throw on enough zeros to some of this stuff. So
yeah,
that's just it's what it is. That's what it is.
It is.
It says, Jensen, can you speak more to Cody Rhodes?
I wish. Trust me.
You can. It's your show.
I thought you were talking about directly. Talk about Cody
directly.
Oh.
Can you text Cody Rhodes right now?
Hopefully, I'll see Cody soon. She's been looming. I don't think he's been at any of the Championship Destiny Wrestling shows that I've been at. Like backstage, I think someone would have told me if he was. At least I hope so. Diamond Sheik, I'm talking to you. You know I'm trying to talk to Cody at one of these shows. But he was at their showcase the night before the last one. Like he was in the building right before I was. With the mere hours before I walked in there, Cody was in there. And I was like, I just missed him. Damn it! I haven't seen him in person in probably 5 years.
Cody's DMs probably aren't open, are they? I was just gonna DM this link and just see what he says.
Oh my god!
I don't think his DMs are open. Do you follow? Does he follow you on Twitter?
I don't think so.
Oh, that's a shame, Jensen. I feel like he should.
Let me see if he does.
No,
I think he did
DMs
a
are not
long time ago, but he had like way less followers back then. He used to have an alt account that was like a personal account that was like Husky Hyrule or something like that. Not many, but I was more connected with him on that, and he does not have that anymore. Anyways, bummer, right? Hey. Spam Cody on Twitter. Follow at Fight Talk. He's your biggest fan. And the funniest thing is he'll see that and be like, "Oh my god, I know this guy."
Everyone tweet Cody Rhodes to follow Stephen Jensen on Twitter so we can get the scoop of when he actually is going to return, even though it's clearly the Royal Rumble of when he's going to return.
Yes.
They're not really making that a secret. They're basically telling you he's going to be there at this point.
Yeah, I mean they put him on the poster, didn't they?
Yeah, he's on the poster.
Yeah, so there you go. Love it.
All right. Again, if you want more on the Saudi stuff, there's a million streams on this channel on youtube.com/Fightful that talk about it for hours upon hours. We have more pressing matters to talk about. It's going to be a big deal. Like it's whatever happens, if they sell, when they sell, it's going to be huge news. Again, best wishes to all the wrestlers and all the staff at WWE whenever this does go through. That's my main concern.
Best wishes for sure. Absolutely. I hope the best for the wrestlers, the wrestlers and the I mean, honestly, even more, I shouldn't say more importantly, but just as important, the backstage people, the people who work behind the scenes. I mean, those are the people that like really don't really get talked about much in this kind of scenario, but a lot of them, their jobs would really be on the line because in a scenario like this, a new owner would probably, for the most part, clean house and bring in their own people to do that kind of stuff. So like, I hope everything is smooth. And personally, I hope that they sell to somebody that is not Saudi Arabia. I think that would be optimal for me as a fan, potentially trying to get back into this. But I hope that it goes somewhere that the fans like and that the wrestlers like. And I don't know. I don't really know what to say about it. There's not a whole lot to say until like something really happens. But I think it's undeniable that they're attempting to sell. That's very, very clear. So we'll just see where it goes and how fast it moves.
Guys, a reminder, all your super chats on this show and on FightfulOverbooked.com, all of our shows over there, all the super chat money goes to our quest to purchase WWE. So if you want to save WWE from Saudi Arabia, send us all the money, and we're going to use that money to make a bid to WWE. Stephen Jensen and I will be co-CEOs of the company. We will try to do creative. Jensen's just going to pitch everything as put the belt on Cody. Doesn't matter which belt it is. Just put the belt on Cody. So I might need a little bit more help on creative, but we will be co-CEOs. Send us all your money so we can purchase WWE. And if you send in money, you will own a share of the company as well. So you are an official stockholder if you send us a super chat and we are able to buy WWE. Joel Pearl is nothing. He's already been fired. No matter what happens, he's just fired. So don't worry about that. Joel Pearl is not involved at all. He's fired. Hope that influences everybody's decision. Let's move on.
Over 1 million fans and a great number in the demo tuned in. It was a great show, and I think it's been a run of great shows.
Jensen, Adam Cole is back. Adam Cole, baby. He's back. He has not wrestled since Forbidden Door. A lot of different health issues. He confirmed the concussions. He said he had trouble sleeping. He was nauseous, like couldn't take a car ride. Just when he was talking about everything, felt very bad for him and everything he had to go through. And we knew it wasn't great because he'd been out for such a long time. But to hear him actually talk about it gave more reality to the situation. And then, the good news was he felt different about life. He had a different perspective on life. And then he said the bad news, and the bad news was not for him. It was for the AEW locker room, because he is back and he is coming after the AEW world title. How'd you feel about Adam Cole's big surprise return, Stephen Jensen?
Loved it. Feel very, very happy for the dude. Adam Cole is one of the there's a lot of great people in wrestling, a lot of like really, really likable people that people will vouch for and say really good things about. I don't think I've heard one person ever say something bad about Adam Cole. And he's been around a long time. I think he said it in his promo, 15 years. I've been aware of him really more so from his Ring of Honor days, and that's been a long time even now since then. And I remember not even initially liking him when he was like winning matches with figure 4 leg locks and stuff. And like I liked him with Kyle O'Reilly as a tag team at first, because I've always been a really big Kyle guy. And that's another guy I want to throw, just as I remember mentioning this. I saw he tweeted the other day he put up a post on Instagram, Kyle, that he's having some post-surgical issues, and he's on the road to recovery, but he has to make a lot of changes to how like he eats and trains and recovers and stuff like that. So shout out and thoughts and prayers and whatever, people do out there to try to help others. Like, I think that Kyle O'Reilly, I really hope to see him back soon, because I love that dude. And he deals with like the diabetes and stuff. And that's another layer to like why things probably get complicated for him more so than others sometimes with the health. And I don't know. I think I'm a very big fan of Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. I like those guys a lot as human beings and as professional wrestlers. I think they're great. It was awesome to see Adam back. I got emotional watching it. Honestly, I was sitting there and I was like kind of tearing up, because that's got to be very scary. I think everything he said was real. Like, I think it was a very,
100%.
I think he went through some really scary stuff. I know how that feels, by the way, with like the motion sickness and stuff. Like I get that way worse than most people do. Unfortunately, I have kind of like an equilibrium issue kind of, I think. And it doesn't happen all the time, but every now and then, and I'll take these little car rides and I'll get like violently sick and like no one else gets affected. And like, and it's miserable. Yeah, actually, about that. I was like that at your wedding. I was like that for like 3 or 4 days straight, just from flying on an airplane. So like, I can sympathize to how terrible that is alone, and then all the other stuff that adds on to it and how scary. I think it's fantastic that he's coming back, and I think that after last night, it hit me, and I was like, you know what? I could see a scenario potentially where MJF, he's already beaten Starks. He beat I think he's going to beat Danielson. Maybe he takes on some guys like Darby, Jungle Boy, something like that. Some of the pillars, maybe, some of the more top tier guys, Hangman, something like that. But maybe Adam Cole's the guy to beat MJF in like a year from now or something. You know what I mean? Like, or like, 6 months, however long they feel like it should be before the MJF drops the belt and they're ready for a new champion. I think a babyface Adam Cole versus a heel MJF is very, very interesting. Fantastic promo. He's one of the nicest guys, from what I understand. I've never met him personally, but from what I understand, he's one of the nicest guys in the business, and just universally loved. So it's really good to know that he's coming back and he's not dealing with these issues anymore. And I mean, I don't think you make a speech like that unless you're 100% cleared. So like, I expect him to be back soon, and that's awesome.
Van Twin Blade says it's Adam Cole, baby. It's like a Tribe Called Quest. Got to say the whole thing. Get it right, boys. Yell at us, Van Twin Blade. I'm glad Adam Cole, baby, is back. Like you said, never heard a bad word about him at all. And that, like, I watch a lot of his Twitch streams and gaming streams and stuff, and he just seems like the nicest guy, so interactive with the fans and everything, and always talking about how much he loves the Chugs community and everything like that. Loved him on the Uno videos with Up Up Down Down and everything. It just seems like the nicest guy, and has I've never heard a bad word about him. As far as like AEW television goes, I've been higher on Adam Cole, baby, I think, than a lot of people when he came to AEW, because it was at the same time as Danielson, literally the same night, around the same time as Punk. And I think people slotted him a little bit lower on the pecking order. And then he had the feud with Hangman, and like the matches were good. I thought my issue with that was always he should not have lost to Orange Cassidy, even though it was a lights out match and it didn't count against the records, which are now out the window. But that visual didn't need to happen. For that, then enter into a title program. But they were very good matches. I do think he is a future world champion. I'm very interested to see where he fits in this current landscape of AEW, because obviously a lot has changed since the last time he has wrestled at Forbidden Door. A lot has changed in the company. The last time we saw him on television really was when they were doing the beatdown of the Elite, and it was with Undisputed Era, or whatever, Undisputed Elite, whatever they were calling themselves in AEW. And like that was obviously the way they were going to go. And, you know, now the Elite, we'll talk about here in a second, are the Trios champions again. So it would have made sense for, hey, Undisputed against Elite for the Trios titles. O'Reilly's out. Best wishes to him. Hope he gets healthy. And just, you know, personally, for his personal life and for a potential in-ring return. Bobby Fish is doing a podcast, so I don't know if he's ever coming back to AEW or anything like that. So I'm very interested.
Boxing people.
Yeah, he's boxing people as well. So I don't know if he's ever coming back to AEW, but I'm interested to see where Adam Cole fits in this current landscape. I imagine he'll be babyfaced right now, just because, and Cole says, I think the promo Adam Cole Bebe did just turned him face. And I think the same thing, that he's probably going to be a babyface for now. Then we will see if he might go heel. If he has his own group, Joel mentions the Kingdom, you know, Cole with Taven and Bennett, obviously be very good. That's a nice little trio that they could run in AEW. I hope that that's not an ROH act. ROH needs something. We don't know what the status of ROH is with television and everything like that. But Adam Cole, certainly AEW star, should be on the AEW television, not the ROH television. I'm just glad he's healthy. I'm glad he's back. I'm glad he's doing better. And I look forward to seeing his actual in-ring return, whenever that should be.
Yeah. Do you want me to transition into the other spot? Because it goes hand in hand. So, like, my spotlight this week was the Elite winning Game 7 and becoming the new Trios champions again. And this goes hand in hand with what you're saying, because, you know, like you just said, when Adam Cole was last seen, he was not only really turning on the Undisputed Elite, the Young Bucks, but a big part of that is him, and he said it on screen at the time. He's like, "You guys think I forgot what you did to me?"
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And that's a long-term story that goes all the way back to BTE, you know, pre-AEW existence.
Again, they were setting up a trios match, and they were setting up Cole and Kenny, because when Kenny took the time off after Full Gear, you know, Cole steps up and is like, "I got this, Cleaner. I got this. Don't worry."
Cleaner, I got this.
They were setting that up, so I'd imagine Cole gets a couple of people beside him, and Taven and Bennett are obvious choices there. But he came off like such a baby face last night. They could easily heel him. Adam Cole's a great heel, but he came off like such a baby face last night that they might have to let that simmer for a little bit and give Cole sort of a little bit of a baby face run before they get into that.
I agree. I completely agree with that. The fans are going to want to cheer him way too much after that promo to have him be a heel at this moment. But it's really easy for him, like, to go back and forth, because essentially this sounds very, very basic, but it's the truth. Adam Cole by himself, babyface. Adam Cole with a group, heel. I mean, it's simple.
He gets the fucking pop he gets when his music hits anyway. He comes off like a baby face. That man gets the biggest reactions, and the company thanks to that music. Mikey Ruckus knocked that one out of the park.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, he's a cool heel, and that's why that is. You know, like he's one of those guys that, like, even though he's a bad guy, you still want to be his friend. You still want to be like him. You want to do the boom thing with him. You know, the Adam Cole baby. Like he's just a cool dude. You know, he's you know, and he's a lifelong fan, which also is going to add some bonus points. You know, it's funny, even to the point where this is so irrelevant, but like just that's where my mind goes, just thinking little weird things. He's such a fan. Like, you know, he dips. You know, you always see him with a lip in when he's not on screen. And he's talked about how he started dipping because he saw Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair doing it in shoot interviews when he was growing up. And I was like, yeah, me too. That's crazy. I did the same exact thing. I watched the RF video or High Spots shoot interviews with like Ric Flair after he retired. He's sitting there spitting into the cup, and I'm like, all right, we go buy some Grizz from the store right now. And I don't do it anymore, but there was a period of time where I did dip, and it was mainly because my favorite wrestlers did, and before that, my favorite baseball players did, and stuff like that. So like, I'm not saying to do this, by the way, everyone. I'm not endorsing this, but I'm just saying, like, that's how big of a fan Adam Cole is. Like, he's a lifelong fan. He loves this business. He loves these wrestlers. And he called AEW the best professional wrestling company in the world, which I love that he said that, because, you know, he loves the WWE still, and he has a lot of friends there, and he didn't burn his bridge there, but he believes in AEW, and you can tell he's there for the long run. This is what it sounds like. So
he's there for at least like another 4 years. I think he signed like a 5-year deal or something. Right.
True. So, but yeah, leading into like the Elite being the champions now, I think that eventually we are going to get Adam Cole and Taven and Bennett as the Kingdom as heels versus babyface Elite of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. I do think that's happening eventually, but I think like you said, you have to roll with him as a babyface right now. And the Elite's match last night with Death Triangle was incredible. That was awesome. Probably the best of 7 series of like anything I can remember in my lifetime. You know, there were some pretty good ones in like WCW and stuff like that, like Booker T and Benoit for like was the TV title and stuff like that. They did like a Booker T and like Guerrero one or something in WWE. I remember something like that. So there's been like some good like best of 5, best of 7 type series I remember, but like this was match quality wise, I can't think of anything that was like 7 matches that were like arguably perfect tag team matches or trios matches. You know what I mean?
I think Brock and Roman is the best of 7.
Have they done 7 of those?
I do think they have like done like 7 or 8.
It's probably pretty close now. Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely the best from a match quality perspective. I'm not even sure like it's that close. Magnum and Nikita did one. Sheamus and Cesaro was a big one.
That led to the bar format.
Yeah, that led to the bar. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's Elite and Death Triangle as well, because they were also different. Even the first few, which were just straight up trios, and then of course they added the stipulations in the back end of them. But the first few that were straight up trios, like those were all different kind of matches, which were really good. I love the NBA presentation. You know, as a big basketball fan, I love that. Love the synergy with the TNT and getting Round Ball Rock and everything. Thought that was great. Yeah, the Elite win, and now we're kind of back to where we were post All Out when they initially won the titles, and they were the first. Oh, Maggie corrects me and says it's best of 5. There you go.
Sorry, Seamus.
We were back. We're back where we were with the Elite coming out as the trios champions, and we will see where they go from here with the titles. There's obvious challengers and somebody like House of Black. They're dealing with Eddie Kingston right now. I think that's the biggest one out there right now. I mean, I know AEW has a lot of trios like Jericho Appreciation Society. They're doing stuff with like Starks and Action Andretti. They're obviously there. I think we're going to get just random off trios matches here and there. Blackpool still out there, although it looks like Moxley maybe finally, thankfully, getting his vacation after that match with Hangman, which, by the way, that match with Hangman was so good. Awesome. I praised Ospreay and Omega last week. One of my top matches of the year. I like that still more than Moxley and Hangman, but Moxley and Hangman, much like Ospreay and Omega, the story from start to finish, all the promos, all the segments, and then the story of the match, and then the actual match itself, just great pro wrestling. But yeah, elite champions, and I hope we get actual storylines with the trios titles, not always just match, defense, like add a little bit more to it. And I think once you get around to Cole, potentially the Kingdom, that's when we'll get more stories. Until then, I do think it might just be heavy. Hey, here's a title defense for the Elite.
Yeah, I think you're right. And they're gonna have banger matches. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited. Yeah. And I'm excited for this because now, honestly, I mean, like the trios tournament was really good, I thought, but like it helped really establish these belts even more, just having this best of 7 and just really setting the stage for what these belts are like really gonna, what they really represent. And yeah, like you said, we're kind of back to square one, where it's like, okay, the Elite kind of clean slate, they're the champions going forward. This is where we wanted to be after Brawl Out, all that stuff. So like, and then there was another, also it popped me that Kenny Omega and all these promos and all these, like anytime they talk to him recently, and he said this before and after the match, but they keep referring to best of 7s and LeBron James, and he keeps just saying that LeBron James is the guy from Space Jam because he doesn't watch sports. So like that's how he knows who LeBron James is. I'll say this. I've done a really good job about compartmentalizing Space Jam 2 into like the ether of my brain, to where like I've convinced myself it never actually happened. But
I refuse to watch it. Just refuse.
Terrible. There are people out there that like it. I think Sean actually liked it. I think I talked to him about that at one
Sean's
point.
dumb.
But like Space Jam, the original Space Jam is one of my favorite movies ever. Space Jam 2 really, 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 really bothers me. So like I just pretend like it didn't happen. But it popped me for Kenny Omega to just constantly be like, yeah, LeBron James, he's the guy from Space Jam. It's pretty funny.
He's the hologram for the new House Party movie. That's how everybody knows him.
I saw
now.
that. Yeah.
That
saw that commercial.
Yeah. I don't know how good that's going to be. The original House Party is very good. But
yeah, it's pretty consistent though. Most of these originals are good, and then they come by, 20 years later and
LeBron James
do whatever they want to them. Yeah. We're in our childhoods over and over again.
Yeah, the best of 7, once it went 3-1, just couldn't help themselves. Had to go the 3-1 lead stuff. If people don't have Death Triangle Blue a 3-1 lead sign, everything, it's all for naught. I don't think they leaned into the basketball stuff during the matches enough. I was waiting for a hammer toss behind the back, like Steph Curry with the behind the back pass that he threw out of bounds instead of going to Klay Thompson. I was waiting for the block from behind last night. Like Penta's up there, and here comes a springboard, and he just slaps the titles out of his hand from behind, like LeBron on Iguodala. If you're gonna lean into it. Tony, I mean, you don't send me T-shirts, which I'm always gonna complain about. You watch the show, if you need help consulting and getting in these NBA ideas in these games, in these matches, let me know. I'll get these little pop culture NBA references to pop 20 people for you during these matches. Let me know. Come on, Tony.
Does Tony watch the show for real?
No.
Tony, I love you, man.
Don't say that. As the check cleared, Jensen?
I love you, Tony. I love you. I love you. I remember Tony Khan. It'd be like that scene in Saving Silverman where where Jack Black like runs up to Neil Young and he's like, "Oh, I love you. I want to party with you." That's me. That's me running up to Tony Khan. I have such respect for that man. He's like our age, and he's like his Fig Fed is on national television on TBS. It's the best. Awesome.
Has your check cleared this week, Jensen, from Tony Khan? Tony's watching. Wink.
No, I know that everyone thinks that we're all shills over here at Fightful, but I know I was gonna say message board is that dude years ago. You know what I mean? I think it's cool to see like one of us do what he's doing. I mean, he's one of us from like a fan perspective. He's much different than us from like a monetary perspective. Like he's rich, but like he can do these things. Yeah, loaded. Congrats to him and the Jags, man. That's good for him. What they've been doing with a lot of their stuff. I mean, that's cool. And I'm really glad we have AEW right now, especially because we don't know what the future of WWE looks like. So I think wrestling fans are very fortunate to have AEW right now.
Tony Khan is a boss.
Oh God.
Our product is what it is. We're going straight up the middle.
KAIRI and Mercedes Moné, they sold out New Japan Battle in the Valley, the only match announced before Bobby Fish truly sold it out with his pre-show match against David Finlay. Where's the lie? Bobby Fish wrestling at a sold-out New Japan event. at New Japan Battle in the Valley. Mercedes Moné, a lot of talk around her. The biggest thing is, of course, her and KAIRI, people very excited for this match, and it did legitimately sell this out as the only match announced. I'm very much looking forward to it. We talked about her New Japan debut last week. We'll talk about more of the New Japan stuff, but to tie that in, a lot of people were disappointed when she didn't show up on Dynamite last night, and it was teased a little bit. You know, the Britt Baker boss line, people really leaned into that. People questioned of like, okay, well, why did you do 2 tickets 5 weeks out? And then why was Tony so secretive of like not going to talk about it until January? What happened here? And then they cut away very quickly because the crowd was booing, and they're like, Excalibur, talk to plug everything, and then Eddie Kingston promo. We got to cut off this crowd here. I don't blame AEW for this. I think this is at least 100%. I think this is a lot of fans kind of worked themselves into a shoot with, is she going to show up? They definitely leaned into it a little bit, and it wasn't as heavy-handed as the Punk stuff. That one was very heavy-handed. And it wasn't even as heavy-handed as some of the other stuff, but they leaned into it, and they certainly didn't deny anything when they could have. They tried to basically tell you, hey, it's they did tell you Tony Storm's the partner. Tony Storm's the partner. Don't worry about it. She's the partner. But that Britt Baker boss line, it didn't matter. People were going to cling to that, and they did. And when she didn't show up, people were like, "Oh, AEW fucked us."
Yeah, my assumption. I know assuming makes an ass out of you and me, but like my guess is that AEW thought they were getting her, and something happened. You know, I don't know how last minute or or how confident they were, but I don't think that you would have done this just to troll the fans, only because it's a kind of a bad faith thing for the fan base. Like I'm one for a good troll job. Don't get me wrong. Like I think trolling is actually really funny a lot of times. And if that's what they were, huh?
Said it's hilarious. I do it all the time on Twitter.
Yeah, trolling's great. But the problem is especially when it comes to Mercedes, because like her fan base is so passionate about her that there was probably a lot of butthurt fans out there that she didn't arrive, because they were really led to believe that she was. And Tony was on Grapsody not that long ago, and I know that he didn't deny it. Like, you know what I mean? He didn't, nobody has to confirm or deny on, to us, but like he could have easily been like, you know what? I don't know if she's going to be there. Like, honestly, we're working on it, or like we like it, or, something that isn't so confident, I guess.
Right. I don't know if you want to say like, I don't know. You definitely don't want to say we're working on it.
No, right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
But I do think he could have said in any interview that he was asked about this of, it's somebody on the roster. Like it's going to be somebody and then that'll give people will then, take that as like, oh, well, she'll be on the roster type of thing. But I had a lot of people message me after the Grapsody interview, like more confident that Mercedes was going to show up. People were like, oh, she's going to be there. Will Washington, day after Dynamite, 3:00 on this channel, the Fightful Awards tonight at 8 with Will, Sean, and Denise. Will Washington was putting out the percentages every week, and he was at 100% one point that Mercedes was going to be the partner, show up, whatever it was. He was down. I think it was 55% was his last guess before the show aired and everything, but he was at one point 100%. And, this is again, working yourself into a shoot, because AEW has a very hardcore fan base. A lot of them are online, and Will is very respected, as he should be, when it comes to this stuff. And so they see that and they're like, oh, she's going to be there. Will knows what he's talking about. And other people, they know what they're talking about. Like it's going to happen. And then it didn't. And it was a disappointing moment for, I'm sure, a lot of fans. My expectations were never Mercedes. I never try to get myself expecting this stuff, because I just don't like being disappointed. If you lower your expectations on everything in life. You can rarely be disappointed. That's why I always think my teams are going to lose. That way disappointment's not there. So I never expected her. I was anticipating. I thought, okay, well, here we go. Let's see what happens. And then it didn't happen. Cole says, do you think they're waiting to bring in Mercedes in for Jade? Like, they were doing something with Jade with the Bow Wow stuff. And then like they haven't touched on that in like a month now. I feel like she's doing her own thing with the baddies. I don't know what's going on with Jade. She's just, it feels like a great match against Sky Blue at Battle of the Belts. I will say that finish was incredible.
Right.
But it feels like she's spinning her wheels a little bit with, okay, the baddies are mad at her now. And it's like, all right, well, we know she's just going to kind of beat these people that she's beaten 100 times. She's beaten Red Velvet like a million times, I feel like, at this point. So if they have Mercedes and they're waiting on Jade, great. But last night was an opportunity to do it. There was obviously plenty of speculation and rumor around it. So last night was the opportunity to do it. Clearly, any type of deal that they may have been working on or weren't working on, whatever it was, it's not done. And I don't know if anything does get done.
Yeah, there's really not much more I can add to that, honestly. Like, I think it also could very much come down to, whatever deal she worked out in New Japan. They wanted her exclusively until she wrestles there. I mean,
and that was what people talked about of after they announced Toni Storm was the partner, was that, oh, well, maybe she shows up after the match. And that's what people were anticipating after the match. And then, of course, they started booing when she wasn't there is, hey, maybe New Japan just has rights to her first match. They want that match. And that's why she wasn't the partner. But she shows up after, and then you can set up something for like Revolution or an episode of Dynamite after Battle in the Valley. And then, again, she didn't show up. But maybe she shows up after Battle in the Valley. Who knows? I'm sure these conversations, these negotiations are always ongoing. They're always very fluid. It's possible she shows up at some point. It's possible she doesn't. We don't know what any type of deal is, but fans were disappointed last night. And I think AEW partly to blame, especially that Brit line pops me now though. The fact that like she just did that, and maybe they, as of last week, they were confident they had something and they're like, all right, let's tease it. And then in the last week, it fell apart. I don't know. But if they had nothing on the books last week for Mercedes and they taped that promo, because that was a pre-taped promo. If they taped that and just left it in, not the best quality control in that situation, because you were given a little bit of expectation there. All that said, shout out to Mercedes and KAIRI for selling out Battle of the Valley, because that's a big match. And that was the only match announced. And people are very excited for Mercedes wrestling for the first time since May and wrestling KAIRI on this New Japan stage. So looking forward to that.
Absolutely. Congratulations to Mercedes and KAIRI for selling out. And I mean, proof that they're both draws. The match is going to be fantastic, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
They're really going to go out there and show the world. Like, especially Mercedes, I think really wants to show like what she's really capable of, outside the WWE. And I love KAIRI. I think she's fantastic. And then I'm not going to compare current AEW to old school TNA because they're in much different positions in the wrestling landscape. But I mean, it just reminds me of stuff like, remember when Hulk Hogan like hit Jarrett with a guitar in Japan on TNA television, and then it literally nothing was ever talked of it ever. Like, I mean, we've seen this happen in wrestling before, where things just never went anywhere.
It does happen, and it does. But this is how fans get mad. It's like, oh, bad faith. Yeah. And AEW has a good track record when it comes to teasing this stuff and then delivering on it. And that's why fans were kind of adamant that they thought this type of thing was going to happen, and then it didn't. On Mercedes and KAIRI, real quick before we move on, I hope they headline. I know they added an IWGP World Heavyweight title match. I assume that'll be Okada. I don't think he's losing to Shingo at New Beginning. So I hope they headline over Okada. I don't know who Okada's going to face. Mercedes and KAIRI should headline that show, though.
There you go. I'm with you. There'll be a lot of eyes on that.
Impact Hard to Kill is tomorrow night, Friday night. They're running it. I don't understand why they're running these Friday shows. There's nothing going on Saturday. I guess
it's a real weak UFC. They could compete with this UFC that they're putting on.
I don't like these Friday Impact shows, but they have a big match in Jordynne Grace against Mickie James for the Knockouts Women's Championships and Mickie James's career is on the line as part of her last rodeo tour. Jensen, where are you feeling on this of who's going to win?
So first of all, make sure to tune into the Impact Hard to Kill post show. I will not be there live in Atlanta, Georgia. The exact terminology I was given was they are at capacity, so I will accept that. I will be on the post show Friday night. Myself and Joel Pearl. Joel, let me know in the chat. I think you're still in here. If not, I'll talk to you later. But I think Cresta's joining us as well. I'm not as in the loop, but I'll be on there. I know Joel will be there, and I think Cresta as well. So we'll be live Friday night immediately following Hard to Kill. YouTube.com/Fightful right here on this channel. As far as this match goes, honestly, I mean, people know this because I talk about it a lot. Jordynne Grace is one of my favorite wrestlers in the world. I love her. And I want to see her continue to be the Impact Knockouts champion because I honestly think they should do a story where she option sees that title and cashes it in against Josh Alexander. And like, I would be fine with her beating Josh Alexander. Like, that's how much I like Jordynne Grace. I think she should and could and very well could be the Impact World Champion. But in this scenario, like, I don't think Mickie James is retiring. I'm not feeling that she's retiring. My gut is that she has too much to offer still, and she's still too, the fans still like her too much. That she's too valuable, I think, still to, and that might not matter to her. Like, it might just be her time and she wants to move on. But I think that given it's the last rodeo, she's been in all these career-threatening matches leading up to this. The whole goal of the last rodeo was to become the Knockout Women's Champion and or the Impact Knockouts Champion. And she's also said in interviews recently that she wants to be the best Knockouts Champion ever. So like, I don't think it's in her mind that she's. So I guess a long story short, I don't see Mickie retiring. So I think Mickie's gonna win this match and defeat Jordynne Grace. But I do think that coming out of it, Jordynne will be more heavily involved in the men's divisions for like the world title or X division title or something like that. Because I think that Jordynne has more than proven that, like, if she's not going to be the main woman in the women's division, then like she's too talented not to be competing for the men's titles.
Maybe Mercedes Moné did not show up to AEW because she is going to be at Impact Hard to Kill. And she is going to confront Mickie James after she wins the Knockouts title. And we get Mercedes against Mickie. And we get Hardcore Country against Money at Impact Slammiversary.
That'd be quite the series of events. And here, listen, like, if they could do.
Where's that owl money? That owl's got some fucking money, doesn't he?
Yeah, the owl. Yeah, I do. I mean, I would love to see, like, specifically Mercedes Moné versus Jordynne Grace and versus Masha Slamovich. Like, those two matches right there, sign me up all day. I would love that. But yeah, that's really the reason I wanted to highlight this match or spotlight this match today was Jordynne versus Mickie. I think will be a very good match, but at the same time, if this wasn't a career-threatening match, I would just default right to Jordynne's retaining. I wouldn't have much doubt about it. But because the title or the career is still on the line, and I don't think that I don't see Mickie retiring. So I do think Mickie James is going to defeat Jordynne Grace at Hard to Kill for the title.
I think Mickie's winning as well, and I like your idea of Jordynne maybe getting involved in the men's division after this, and then Mickie can just have the matches she wants. I think Impact will be, I don't think they're getting Mercedes Moné. I do think Impact will be as accommodating as possible to get Mickie the opponents she wants for this title run. Whatever that might be, however they might be able to work that out. I do think they will try their best to get her opponents that she does want for this title run. So we shall see. But I do think Mickie's winning. I do think it'll be a good match too. Watch Hard to Kill. I'm sure it'll be a good show. Watch the post show with Stephen Jensen, Cresta, and other people, I guess.
I'm going to give a big motherfucking shout out.
Do I look like I'm wearing a straight jacket? Been hanging out with Dom. Me and Dom up in prison. They got to contain us, baby. You can't control us. All right. Big motherfucking shout out to in about 8 months from now, everybody will be able to see Chris Jericho at PWG Battle of Los Angeles Night 2. His surprise appearance where he teamed with the Jericho Appreciation Society and multi-man tag team match. It was a big surprise. I listened to an interview with Michael Oku with Stephanie Chase. Shout out to her. And he said like he kind of knew about it day of. It was a hint the night before, but he didn't know who. So it seemed like they at least had this secured the night before. Who knows how far Jericho was, far back of like had this idea of wanting to go to PWG. But Chris Jericho adds PWG to his resume of places he has worked with this surprise appearance.
Yeah, I mean, and it just strengthens the GOAT conversation, I think, for Jericho that I've been making for quite a long time now. But
PWG working there just makes you the GOAT?
Well, no, he was already the GOAT, in my opinion. But like this is another cherry on top of this, where who else is as established as Chris Jericho at this point of his career, still 30 years in, still wrestling at this level, still showing up on indie shows. Like that's insane. And he's still having really good matches. Like his Ring of Honor title run, I think, was actually really good. I think anyone hating on that just hates on Jericho. Like he had a good run with that title. And you can't convince me otherwise. So like, I don't want to sit here and because I'd be sitting here for the next hour trying to explain why I think Chris Jericho is the best of all time. But like, and that's just my opinion, by the way. There's plenty of people you can put in that conversation, and I understand. But to see him to show up in PWG was just incredible. Or I shouldn't say, to see pictures and videos online of him showing up at PWG, because as you mentioned, we won't be able to watch this for a long time. And PWG needs to get their shit together and figure this out. I'm sorry. Like, this is insane. It's insane that you're in a position where streaming is so accessible, so easy. Everyone's doing it. Little mom and pop, little guys promoting shows out of the blue or streaming live. You know what I mean? Like, how are you not, even if you're not going to stream live, give us access to it within a week or so, something. I mean, it's crazy because the world buzzes about this stuff. 8 months from now, no one's buying the DVDs. Sorry. I mean, some people might, but like, not like they would if the show was available right now I'd pay $50 to watch night 1 and night 2 of PWG straight up. Like if I could stream it off of Fight Plus or whatever, their Fight TV or whatever, streaming service, like I would pay an actual pay-per-view price for something like that.
I would definitely write off $50 on my next invoice to watch PWG.
Well, same, right? But like, but my point is, it's valuable. Like it's a show that like you could charge even more than, like if you're concerned about, well, we don't want to charge like $10 for it because we make more on DVDs, physical DVDs or whatever. It's like charge 20, charge 30. Like the fans want to see this, especially if you have any idea that someone like Chris Jericho is going to pop up on the show and wrestle an indie appearance. Like it's, and on top of that, I mean, that's just once again a cherry on top of the cake. The PWG Boulder tournament itself is incredible. Speedball Mike Bailey won the whole thing, beat Takeshita in the main event or in the finals. So it's like, Brent M in the chat. Why is Mercedes sell out in the heading? I think the way that you've worded that, I guess, is kind of funny. Mercedes, they sold out. Her and KAIRI sold out their next show. You must have missed our chat about that, Brent. But no, they sold out. It's in the
description too.
Yeah, no, like we're not calling her a sellout. We're saying she sold out her match inside against KAIRI. They sold out. But in a good way.
Don't just read the headline. Right. Read the article. And listen to the podcast for yourself. Tell everybody.
Battle in the Valley sold out. And if we said Battle in the Valley sold out, not many people are gonna.
Thanks for joining
care
us,
about
Brent.
the headline. Thank you, Brent. But yeah, it was awesome seeing Jericho be a part of this. And then after the match, he got a microphone and he called PWG kind of like the new age ECW and stuff like that. And I think, GCW is probably a better comparison, but I understand where he's coming from. The young upcoming talent that isn't as well known. You can see them in PWG before they really blow up in the wrestling world. And I said it when Jericho wrestled Nick Gage on AEW in that death match. I was like, honestly, I could see him doing GCW. I could see Jericho popping up in GCW for a show. Right now, I don't know, because I don't know what that relationship really looks like at the moment between GCW and AEW. But I think Jericho's willing to pop up on the indie scene more if it makes sense. And I think I just think it's really, really cool to see a guy with his standing in wrestling and the position he's in and being in my opinion, in the GOAT conversation. He doesn't have to do this at all, but he's constantly giving back to wrestling. He's constantly giving back to other people. I know he donates a lot of money to a lot of people. I know Hamlin, he did $10,000. I know I tweeted it yesterday. I'm in this random AEW action figure group on Facebook, and some guy just randomly put on the chat yesterday a screenshot, and he was like, hey, Chris Jericho just donated $1,000 to my mom's GoFundMe because she's battling cancer. Like, Jericho doesn't know this guy at all, and just like gave his mom $1,000 so hopes it helps with her cancer. It's like, listen, there's some things that Jericho's involved with and that he's donated to and stuff that people don't agree with, and I get that, but like that doesn't completely, in my own opinion, that doesn't offset all the good things he's done for people. And I've heard of him paying people's like mortgages and like buying food and clothes for people, and like it's just that's pretty powerful that he does that kind of stuff for just random people.
Chris, can you send me a Bryan Danielson t-shirt? Because Tony Khan ain't doing it.
Right, for real. We need AEW merch. You want us to be shills. I'll sit here and cover it in merchandise right here on the channel.
Brent, you're good. We did talk about Mercedes not showing up at Dynamite, but it was referencing New Japan Battle on the Valley.
Yes,
selling out, and we also talked about that. You're good. I've said it before. I headline bait a little bit. I'm not afraid to admit that headline bait, not clickbait.
Even Mr. Beast, like his thumbnails and stuff, he gets hundreds of millions of views. His thumbnails look way more dramatic than what the video actually is. But like, to get people to click on it.
Look, good on Jericho for showing up at PWG. It was a cool moment. It was a nice surprise. I look forward to watching the actual video 8 months from now. We've talked about PWG. Now they got to get that together. I don't know if they ever will, if they even have the desire to. But yeah, something like this happens. People want to watch this stuff immediately, not just see Twitter clips and whatnot. And like, this is a cool thing. This would drive subscribers. This would drive people to pay for it.
Well, and Jericho mentioned it by name on AEW television last night. So imagine if it dropped today where you could watch it. The amount of people that would pay for it. I mean, it's just a no-brainer.
Jericho's gonna have to do a promo 8 months from now when the DVD drops. Like, 8 months ago, and I showed up at Battle of Los Angeles and beat you. He's gonna wrestle Michael Oku on a random episode of Rampage, just to tie it all together. My indie spotlight this week, Jensen, is a show you can watch right now on IWTV. Use the code FightTalk. It is Alec Price against Titus Alexander from West Coast Pro. Can you work Fridays? It's the main event of the show, and Titus Alexander got the victory. Alex Price is someone who I've been very high on at the end of last year, coming into this year. Someone who could be on the show by the end of it, might be on the show very soon. Wink, wink. Someone I've been very high on, and like they had a very good match. Couple of rough moments, but they picked it up, got it all together, and Titus Alexander picked up the victory with the Sweet Time Driver. Great match. Go check it out if you have not seen it.
Yeah, I mean, in big week, Alec Price is wrestling so consistently. He also had an Ironman, 1 hour Ironman match this past week against Channing Thomas that he won 6-5. I mean, Titus is, that was his first defense of the WCP championship as well. Great title defense. I love the finish too, like how he caught the surprise kick and turned it right into the Sweet Time Driver for the 3. And then after the match, Nick Wayne came out and they set up for the next show. It's going to be Nick Wayne versus Titus Alexander for the West Coast Pro Championship, which is going to be a banger. And it feels like there's real animosity between those two guys because like Nick tried to shake his hand the last time they interacted. Titus left him hanging. On this show, Titus is basically telling him like everything in your life's been handed to you. Like there's just and everything that I've ever worked for. Everyone's always trying to take stuff I've worked for from me. You're no different than everyone else. Nick, I thought caught a pretty decent promo too, because he's a guy I don't hear on the microphone very often. And he's getting better at that, which is going to be very helpful for him in the next step because he's very close to being AEW. I mean, he's already signed to AEW, but he's
close to debuting. Yeah, getting closer to actually being on television.
Well, I mean, he did wrestle recently for them, but like you can't watch it from what I understand. I think he wrestled some sort of dark match of some kind because like Titus said something about that in the promo. He said like, "Oh yeah, good for you for wrestling, AEW Dark Elevation or whatever," but like no one was allowed to watch it or something like that. And it's like, oh, I didn't even know he wrestled, or if that's even true. But because I know Billy Starks recently wrestled, but I know she's 18. I don't know if Nick has turned 18 yet. But when he does, like,
I don't think he has, because he tweeted after Dynamite last week, like 6 months.
6 months, right? So that's really the only hang up for Nick, is just literally just like waiting for like high school to end or whatever, or him to turn 18, and he's going to be off to the races just like Billy is. Billy's going to be heavily courted. I mean, she's Billy and Nick are like, they're the future of wrestling, the two of them. So like, so yeah, in Titus Alexander, we talked to right here on the show. You can listen to a past interview we did with him. Great dude, super athletic. He's only like 22, 23 years old himself. I mean, so super, super bright future. Another, a great first title defense for him for the West Coast Pro Championship, and very much looking forward to the next matchup against Nick Wayne.
Should be a great match. Go check that out. Yeah, on IWTV, West Coast Pro Show. Go over to IWTV, subscribe, use the code Fight Talk. Jensen, go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you at.
Yes, I'm going to go clock in for the shoot job now. Thanks everyone for watching, and please subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, all that good stuff. You can follow me on Twitter at FightTalk_, FIGHTTALK_. Listen to the Fightful Select Weekender podcast. That's usually on Sundays during the football season. It's been more so on Mondays. It'll probably be Monday this week as well, because I'll probably be at Battle Slam on Sunday night. And I'll talk about Battle Slam on Monday night whenever I record the show. But we'll be back to like regular Sunday afternoons once the football season's over. But so Fightful Select Weekender podcast. If you like independent wrestling, that's a show for you. A lot of the people that you see pop up in these major companies, a lot of people we talk about here that you hear other people talk about. Not to toot my own horn or pat myself on the back, and I know I'm not the only one doing it. I'm not taking full credit for this, of course, but like, we've been talking about a lot of these people for like 4 years that are now blowing up. So it's like, if you want to get in on like lesser known wrestlers and kind of like the lower scale that are on the come up, I'd highly recommend the Weekender, because I'm constantly highlighting talent that's constantly being elevated, and that a lot of them, which we're seeing on mainstream television right now. So yeah, thank you for watching the show. I hope y'all enjoyed this interview with myself, Jeremy, and Vinny Pacifico that you're about to hear. It was fantastic. One of the nicest guys I think we've talked to. That was awesome. And I hope you enjoy it. And I'm going to go clock in for work. And good to see you, Jeremy. Good to see everyone in the chat. See ya. Oh, hey, guys, Friday night, tomorrow night, Impact Hard to Kill post show. Check it out.
Check that out. Again, it'll be Jensen, Cresta, and some other guy. We do have our interview with Vinny Pacifico. You may have seen him recently. You may have seen him recently on episodes of AEW Dark. He has wrestled Will Hobbs and Wardlow on AEW Dark. He has wrestled Joe Gacy on NXT television. He's traveled around. The AEW Dark match, by the way, against Hobbs was the most recent episode. That was in Seattle. So everybody can go on to AEW YouTube right now and check that out. We asked him about that. He's wrestled around the country, largely based on the East Coast, New York area, but made his way over to the Pacific Northwest and has really grown in popularity over there. We get into all that, the AEW appearance, the NXT appearance, wrestling Pacific Northwest, dream matches for him. Big fan, like myself, of Bryan Danielson. We talk about that. And then honestly, what I think is one of our best, what's in your room, favorite thing in your room gimmick. I will not spoil it for everybody, but he gives a very good answer to that. And then he shows off his collection of what he has. And it is fantastic. The collection this man has of his favorite thing in his room. We also talk about him scissoring daddy ass. So he recently did that at an independent show. So a lot of fun stuff with Vinny Pacifico. Check him out. Go follow him on Twitter, and check out just everything he's got going on. And I hope everybody enjoys this interview. Guys, here we go. Our creator spotlight with Vinny Pacifico.
Welcome to the spotlight, their creator spotlight interview portion of the show. I, of course, am Stephen Jensen, as always, with Jeremy Lambert. And today, joining us, we have the new PWM Junior Heavyweight Champion, Vinny Pacifico. Thank you for joining us, Vinny. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. I feel great. I'm very excited to be on the show.
You look good. He's got the guns out for this one and everything.
I do. Got my Harry Potter shirt on. I'm ready.
All right. Well, you know what? Forget wrestling for a second. Let's start with the Harry Potter. Favorite Harry Potter film?
I like 1 and 3, I guess, because I like I don't know. 1 was really good, but 3 had a lot of cool turn of events. So I would say 1, actually. Keep it at 1.
Okay. All right.
How about you?
Oh, so I asked that because you said you liked Harry Potter. I have seen 1 Harry Potter film, Goblet of Fire, I think.
That was good.
Okay. I've seen that one twice. Never seen any other Harry Potter movies. So I'm not a Harry Potter person at all. I asked because you had the T-shirt on.
No, yeah. But to see the same one twice, that's pretty funny.
That's a different story for a different day.
It's funny because I saw the first one, and it was I was in middle school, I believe, at the time, because I remember it was like to get out of having to read the book. I was like, okay, I'm going to watch the movie so I know about the book so I can do the test on the book. And then I never watched the other ones, but I've honestly had like an itch lately. My stepsister's really into Harry Potter, and we were together over the holidays, and I was like, you know what? I might just binge the entire series. Like if I can watch the first one now and get really into it, I might just sit there and watch the whole thing. So, yeah.
Highly recommended. Highly recommended. I did it. I watched every one in one day. Loved it. And I actually watched all of them in one day more than once. And it doesn't get old.
Oh,
that
wow.
Star Wars. So like those 2, I could watch all day, every day.
Okay. I got to ask you about this then too, because this is honestly, I'm not that into Star Wars either, but I know a lot of people that are.
Yeah.
How do you feel about are you a fan of the new movies? Because I feel like that fan base is kind of divided as far as like where they're at now with these versus like kind of like the purist old school fans. I don't know. I feel like there's kind of a divide there with the Star Wars fans.
I like the new ones. I do. I don't. It's very weird how they just bring back Palpatine and put him in a certain situation. That was weird to me, but I definitely really did enjoy the new 3 ones. I liked Rogue One. I also liked Solo. Solo was very good.
Do you have any Star Wars opinions, Jeremy? Oh, sorry.
Oh, see, Star Wars, yes.
Okay.
I've seen Star Wars. I've seen all of that. I'm not like a hardcore fan on Star Wars, but I've at least seen those films.
Yeah.
Rogue One is great. I'm not a fan of the new series. I did not like the latest one, whatever it's called, Rise of Skywalker. Didn't like that one.
I could see why, though. I could get why, because it's a lot of it just, it doesn't make sense, some of the things. Some of the things they do, which just feels like there's no payoff, I guess. Yeah. I get you.
It completely neutered like the second film. What is it? Last of the Jedi. Yeah, it completely neutered that film. And I know it was like different directors and everything, and there was a lot of behind the scenes mess on that caused the reason for all of that. But not my favorite of the trilogy. I still like the original a lot. Return of Jedi, I think, is actually kind of underrated, but that might be the nostalgia.
Love that one. No, I agree. I think the first 6, amazing. And then Mandalorian was really good. The add-ins are really good, but some of them were just too much to me. So I agree.
Let's get into some wrestling. I assume that's why people are listening, but
maybe
everybody's got. Everybody's got other interests, right? We like learning about the wrestlers and everything as well. I'm going to start with some AEW talk because you've done some AEW spots most recently in Seattle the other week. How was that? How was Wrestling Powerhouse Hobbs in Seattle on Elevation?
It was incredible. He is big. He's incredible. The environment with that crowd is like I've never been before. Loudest, funnest, rowdiest crowd I've ever been in front of. Also, I really always enjoy the Northwest scene. I've been there quite a few times, and I was actually booked there Saturday for DOA wrestling against Steve Miggs. That was a hell of a good time, and hands down, Northwest wrestling scene is just incredible. So being in an AEW ring in the Northwest was just icing on the cake.
Well, they knew you in the crowd too. Like you got to pop when they announced your name for the match, which is always got to be like a really great feeling when you don't really know in a crowd that large. How they're gonna respond.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit! But I've always done well in the Northwest area whenever I wrestled there.
Right.
So like that word travels, I guess. Plus social media and footage. So I was very grateful of my opportunity.
Now I do need to. This obviously is it's bittersweet because you are 0-2 in AEW, technically speaking. But I mean, let's keep it real here. Your two opponents have been Powerhouse Hobbs and Wardlow.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, come on. So it's one of those things where like, what's that experience like with Wardlow? Like kind of seeing, because that was like 2 years ago. So seeing kind of the progress he's made in the company. And I mean, just those two guys being your two AEW opponents just is wild to me.
It is crazy. I guess I have a knack for being underdog, I guess, but both of them are great talents and they deserve everything they're getting. That's all I can say about them. They're great people, great talents, and they deserve literally every single thing they've worked for.
Yeah. What did that spine buster feel like at the end of that match? I mean, he nailed you with that thing. Yeah. Yeah.
It got a reaction, like a really big reaction from that crowd. I heard it, and the mat with it hurt. It sucked, but it was good.
I'm gonna steal a Stephen Jensen question here. How'd you get started in wrestling?
Funny story. I went to a meet and greet to see Daniel Bryan, and I was like, my favorite wrestler of all time. I was like, hey, I am a huge fan. I want to get. I was 14, I think. I want to wrestle, and he said, just go for it. Just do it. And because the hardest part is doing something, just starting some of the time. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna do it. So I was playing football in high school as a quarterback, and I told my father, I'm like, Dad, I want to wrestle. I want to just do it. He's like, oh, this is one season of football. Come on, once. I'm like, nah, I want to wrestle. So I said, I did an agreement. I'm like, I'll do 3 months of Tottenham high school football. It's all right. I hated it. I love football, but I hated it because I was forced into doing it. I wanted to wrestle more than anything else. So I really just was miserable on the field, and I just wanted to wrestle. That's all I wanted to do was wrestle. So when I finally went to wrestling school, Ring of Honor dojo, trained. I'm so blessed to have gotten the opportunities I've gotten in my career and the people I've met. Cheeseburger, BJ Whitmer, Delirious, John Gresham, Brett Titus, just the best people to learn from. And I've just been so fortunate to be put in those great opportunities. And I'm not looking back. I love football. I had a good time doing it, but I'm glad I did what I did.
Yeah, I mean, that's, Jeremy's favorite wrestler is Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson.
He's the best.
Yeah, I mean, so that's...
I want to follow up on that. So you were in Seattle, and I'm sure Danielson was a very busy person that day, but did you get a chance to speak to him at all while you were in Seattle?
Didn't get to speak to him, but I shook his hand, He is incredible. In the ring, outside the ring, just somebody that any young wrestler would want to be like, I feel like, Especially me. When I was younger, I wanted to have a style like him, wrestle like him, and really inspiring. Everything about him, everything he's gone through, his trials, tribulations, the real life stuff, everything is just so relatable and just so inspiring. And it just makes me want to work harder. I'm sure everybody else who loves him and follows his career and his everything, it really just pushes you to just become the best you could be, And not everyone can do that. Not everybody has that type of effect on people. So,
do you have a favorite Danielson match or like a few that you want to throw out there?
I love him in Triple H. That match, I was
WrestleMania,
like 13, I think at the time, or 12. But that match took me an emotional roller coaster, and I was just like getting into what wrestling was at the time, like how it worked, kind of like the dirt sheets and stuff, like as a lot of people do at that age. And I was just taking on such a roller coaster that match. Love that one. Him and Nigel McGuinness, Ring of Honor, all incredible matches. Kenny Omega, it's just there's so many to name. And him and Regal, that was another one. I think it was on Main Event.
Yeah.
That one was just phenomenal. Regal and Cesaro was another match. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It was in NXT a couple years ago. Regal versus Cesaro. Phenomenal.
So I think what we need here is Vinny in the Blackpool Combat Club. That's where we're going with all of this. That's gonna be the headline of this article, of this portion of the interview. Vinny Pacifico auditions for Blackpool Combat Club. We'll make this happen.
It's all great talent. How could you not love them?
We manifest things on this podcast. We manifest things. We make things happen. So.
Yeah, and well, speaking of manifesting, I mean, this might be an obvious question and answer, but is Danielson your dream match? Like one person you can wrestle? Yeah, okay.
100%. Him, I love Morrison. That's another one I want to wrestle really bad. But yeah, Danielson's definitely number one on my list.
I remember seeing or reading an interview of yours at one point where you mentioned Matt Sydal, and now you know the guy. So how's that? I mean, that's pretty cool.
Love him to death. Great guy, great talent. He's phenomenal. We've had 2 matches before, one in Maine, one in Jersey for Magic, and he's just, so good in the ring. Him and Rocky Romero are probably the 2 best people I've ever wrestled in my entire life. And levels above. They're just incredible talent. And people, too. That's even more important. They're great people. So that's just... Matt Sydal is just incredible. I could never say too many good things about him because he just nails everything on the head in terms of being a good performer, great look, good promo. He's special. He is special.
Any advice when you're at AEW? Did you talk to anybody backstage about, hey, work on this, don't do this, do more of this? Did you talk to anybody about that stuff? Yeah,
they were some like camera stuff, but they were happy with my selling. They were happy with how I made Hobbs look, He's incredible talent, but they were happy with how I did things with him. They were happy with my placement. It was a very good opportunity and very what I was really learning was just having my eyes open and watching how things were done, how matches were structured, and just how the wrestlers made moments. That was just what I really paid attention to. I watched the whole show, and the moments that they made and the moments that everybody was a part of, the referees, it was just so perfect. And that is what I just took so much from it. And just, I'm going to use it. I'm going to use the moments in wrestling are so important because it's what people remember. Anyone could do a 450 splash, but making not anyone, but you know what I mean? Making a moment is not easy, So that's what I really learned, moments. And definitely, a 450 splash is not bad. I'm not saying I would love to bust out sure. But make good moments with the 450 splashes even better.
Yes. How did the AEW appearances, how did the first one come about as far as them reaching out? I know that was during the pandemic, so that was a really strange time for everyone. The first appearance, and then the second one, how I guess kind of getting your foot in the door with them a few years ago, and then this most recent time as well.
So I let them know I'll be in town for Orlando. I was going to be in Orlando anyway. I had a vacation planned for Orlando. Let them know I'll be in town, because it's Florida, Jacksonville, whatever. And I got the call when I was in Harry Potter World. That's when my Harry Potter fandom started. Yeah, I was actually getting butterbeer, and I got a text on my phone, and that was it. That was the first. That was the feeling. I was like, holy shit, this is incredible. Second time, I was booked in the area already for 2 shows, and it just worked synergistically and luckily, and things happened. Right place, right time. That's another big thing that people talk about in wrestling. Right place, right time. And luckily, this week, I was in the right place at the right time. I'm very fortunate.
Another company you have worked for, done enhancement talent with, was NXT. You wrestled Joe Gacy. How was that experience like?
That was incredible. I can't say good enough things about Joe Gacy and the locker room at NXT. I had a blast. Everyone there was so chill. Everyone there was, I know a few of the guys there also, so it was good seeing them again. Joe Gacy's incredible. It was just that itself, that day, that moment was special because I got to have my family see me on TV. I did Ring of Honor before, but this is just national TV. You know what I mean? So it was really cool for my family to see that. And just a really special moment for me, and it was, I loved it. I want to do it again. I can't say, I love professional wrestling, and I want to do it at the highest level, the best of my ability. So I can't say good enough things about the locker room at NXT, the environment, the people. It was just flat out an amazing experience, and I would love to do it again.
What about? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jeremy.
No,
if you had a follow up. Oh, I was gonna just kind of tie that into your experience with Ring of Honor. I know you mentioned being a part of the dojo and the great training you got there, but also just kind of peripherally, just being a part of like that brand and seeing how things are run and the talent that comes and goes through Ring of Honor so consistently, just such high level. What was your overall Ring of Honor experience like?
I wouldn't change a thing. I had the best time. I learned so much. The crowds were incredible to wrestle in front of too. They were the best crowds to wrestle in front of. They were just so loving and just they loved professional wrestling. They were appreciative of the things you did, the small things you did that some people won't notice. And that to me was just so special. Like doing a certain wrist lock or a certain hold or a certain really cool pin. They appreciated it to the fullest, That to me was what I loved about the Ring of Honor audience and the Ring of Honor fan base. It was just they cared and they showed their support every way they can. And it was just, I loved it.
What made you kind of start traveling to the Northwest? Because so when I was looking at everything and I saw you wrestled in Seattle, I know you're from New York. I don't want to. It's Staten Island, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I know they can get offended if you say the wrong place. So I don't want to.
No.
I don't want to do that. But you're more in that scene, the New York scene, and then. Yeah, when I saw you on Dark in Seattle, big pop in Seattle, it's like, oh, he's like made a nice little base over here in the Northwest. Like, how did you start to grow things in that area and start to move, I would say, your brand more to the West, being so established on the East Coast and really starting over there?
So I was booked there for the first time in 2019 or 18. I don't remember what year it was, but I had a really good match. And then I was brought back for a double shot. And I had 2 good matches. I'm trying to think where else. Oh, Oregon. I had a match against Eddie Pearl. That was really good. That was the start of it. And then I had a few shots in Oregon, actually. And then it started snowball affecting. And I had a match against Princess Deathwish and Chris Brady. And that match was really good. And that match got me a little going more and more. And again, the Northwest fans are, again, just like Ring of Honor, or close to Ring of Honor, very appreciative of everything you do. I can't say good enough things about the Northwest fans. I would move to the Northwest just for the quality of wrestling alone. Honestly, I even said, I would definitely, if there was more companies here, I would live here. You know what I'm saying? The quality of the talent, the fans, the locker room. It's just, if you haven't been to a show in the Northwest, I would consider going, or trying to at least. It's just, the crowds are just incredible. It's like, I watch football, and the Seahawks fans are from Washington. Those the best fans in the world, So it's just kind of similar. So, yes, I love the Northwest. I'm going back there again February 4th and 5th for DOA. And I'm going back there in April for SOS and 5cc. So really good places to work out there, really good talent. And there's a lot more talent out there that I want to wrestle in the Northwest.
Oh, can you name some of that talent that you got in your mind?
Sonico, which is actually happening in February 4th. Jordynne. Mm-hmm. Jordynne's incredible. He actually tweeted yesterday he wants to wrestle me. So
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely Swerve. He's big out there. Okay. Nick Wayne, he's another one, of course. And there's just so many. Ricky Gibson, great. Eddie Pearl. I had Eddie Pearl already in the West Coast. But Gibson's awesome too. Ricky Gibson, if you haven't seen him, check him out. He's very talented, very good guy. Yeah, so much talent out there that I could even name.
Yeah. And I know you've been all over the place. Excuse me, because speaking of a different Jordynne, I know you've wrestled Jaden Newman as well in the Southeast. Okay, well, love hearing that. So I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm big in the Southeast indie scene as far as SCI, Sup Raps, Action, TWE, of course, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So what if you can just speak on kind of the Southeast indie scene and Jaden Newman, what he's doing in TWE, I think it's really slept on, the amount of people they're training there and just the good reputation they've really built there. I think has been really impressive.
I agree, 100%. Jaden's a man. Me and him are very close. I love the southeast scene. The talent there also is amazing. Aaron Wade, you got Derek Neal, you got Rolando Perez. These people are just phenomenal. And like you said, slept on. TWE is incredible. I love going to TWE because that part of Tennessee has, besides the wrestling, it has so many beautiful places you could go. Me and my fiance went to Ruby Falls. We went to what was the other one we went to? I love garden gnomes. So for some reason they popped me. So they had this place that had all garden gnomes everywhere. It's like a maze, a beautiful maze in the woods, and there's just garden gnomes all over the place, really randomly. But it was just so cool, and I loved it. And Rock Mountain, I think it's called. Also, they have so many places you could go. I love to explore. You know, if I'm traveling and I'm wrestling somewhere, I want to see these places. You know, I want to see what they have. Like, it just makes everything better or more fun for you. You know?
Yeah.
Makes the experience more full. You're wrestling, having a banger match. Oh, let me go hang out with garden gnomes. You know, it's just like it makes the experience more fun.
Awesome. Yeah, and I actually saw your match against you mentioned Rolando Perez. I watched that. That was a New South, I believe. Yeah.
Which one did you see? The recent one?
Yes, because he had already beat Cardona.
Okay,
Yeah. But dude, I went back and I actually watched quite a bit of your stuff. Like I watched a match recently between yourself and it was a really good, and it was like almost 5 years ago, I want to say. It was you and Casey Navarro. And, yeah.
That was a fun
Casey's
one.
on the up too.
Oh, big time. Yeah.
Love that kid.
Yeah. If you wanted to speak on some of those guys, like I just love hearing your opinions. You're very enthusiastic about, I think that's really cool how much you love talking about these guys and these areas you've worked.
They're great people, and it's just, I think being a good person helps being a professional wrestler. You know, you don't want shitheads around. And luckily, a lot of people that I've wrestled and been around have been really good people. Like just Jaden Newman, just somebody who's helping so many people and just deserves to be helped back. You know, deserves the recognition for everything he's doing. You know, he's a great dude. And another guy I want to mention, Effie.
Sure. Yeah.
Phenomenal. I love him to death. I can't say enough good things about him. I can't. I love him to death. He's also helped me out. My new character I've been doing. It's the Power Punch character with the energy drinks thing. It's I've been going for it's ever since starting that character, my career skyrocketed. And he's always had, like, I do these promos with people, and he always like, oh, let's have this. And he always has good ideas for me to do with him, you know, or to do with just promos. And Effie's a genius. So I always love picking his brain, getting to work with him and promo with him, you know, which is always so much fun.
Jeremy, I don't want to, I've got one more follow up and then
go for it.
Back over. To your point about the energy drinks, I wanted to ask you, what is your favorite energy drink?
I get asked all the time, and I don't really have an answer. So I was in the Northwest this weekend. I had my fair share of rock stars, and I really enjoyed them. Actually, I'm like, damn, this is like juice. It's not like it's even carbonated or anything. And then I do like Monster here and there, but Monsters I noticed can hurt your throat or your tongue if they're drinking them a little bit much. C4 is always a plus. Yeah, I always love a C4, but I would say probably Rise. And Celsius are good too. Celsius is pretty good. Celsius are good if you go to the gym and you want to burn some fat. Celsius. But if I'm just chilling, you know, wrestling tonight, Rise, RYSE, they have some incredible flavors. So if you haven't heard of them, check them out because they have great flavor.
So
Tiger Blood. What?
Oh, no, go ahead. You can name the flavors.
Tiger's Blood, Baja Blast, phenomenal. They have Airhead, not Airhead. What's the glass guy? He's a red
Kool-Aid.
Oh yeah. Sure. Oh yeah.
Yeah. They have Kool-Aid flavor, Smartie flavor, Sunny D flavor. It's just phenomenal. Wow. And they give you a good energy kick. You feel them, and it's good.
Are you on the? Cause I only ask you this, and we're not like endorsed to say these things. I promise y'all, but you know, but like, you had mentioned when we linked up, you had mentioned that you had seen our interview with Fodder, I believe. Is that right? Okay. Are you on any of the fodder stuff? Because like he's got like I've been drinking the he's got like this protein powder that tastes like it's straight up just cereal milk flavored. Yeah.
Which
it's
one?
So good. The Fruit Loops one.
Oh, phenomenal! I love his brand. Yes, I am a brand ambassador with him. I am, but I've been trying to get my own energy drink out there, and it's very, very hard to do that. But I've been making connections to bust in with an investor and look into getting my own energy drink in stores. And it's not easy. It's been a journey, but I'm working on it. I've had some people reach out for sponsors, but I'm not interested in some of them. But yes, I am with Berserk. Black Magic. But I just haven't been focusing on that much. I take the supplements. I love them to death. They're incredible. But my main focus right now is building my brand and building what I want to have as my energy drink, hopefully coming soon.
Well, please, if things get rolling with the energy drink of your own, we would absolutely love to try that here on the Spotlight, just so you know.
Yeah, hell yeah. I actually have some ideas of flavor. I was thinking like marshmallow or s'mores. Because like, who drinks, I don't know. It's just something different that I thought would be really cool.
Yeah.
I love marshmallows. So I'm like, why not make that a flavored drink? I never even heard of a marshmallow drink. So like, why the fuck not? Sorry.
Yeah. No, you say whatever the fuck you want, dude.
Yeah, you can curse. You're good. I have 2 energy drink questions now.
Sure.
One is I've seen a couple of the bits online, and you mentioned working with Effie on some of the stuff, like the one with Sue Young, the one with Matt Seidel. Like these bits are fantastic, and is a big fan of bits myself. Like how did those like kind of start? Of like, all right, I'm just gonna present this and go for it.
The first one was EC3. He was the first one I ever did, and it was his idea though to do it. He's like, this character's great. Like, this is you. I love this. Let's do a promo together. No, me and him, our characters just work together. But then after EC3, it was who did I do him with? Effie. Me and Effie always kill them. They're hilarious. Who else did I do one with? That was like Hammerstone. That was a great one. That got a lot of traction. Sue Young one so far has gotten the most traction, I think, out of all of them. I think
it's so unique because it's Sue Young. She's an undead bride. Like why does she want an energy drink?
Exactly.
It's very unique.
And then the finish with the guy the licking.
And I just think I love getting to promote other characters, because I love wrestling. I could wrestle, but like, what more could I offer? My great character, my promo ability. So like, why not show it off? Why not intertwine my character with other characters and grow my character? Why not promote other characters? Like having people come on and do the bit with me, like it helps not only me, but helps everybody. And it's just funny shit to watch. Yeah, in my opinion, I think it's hilarious. I watch them back and I laugh. So yeah, I kept going and going and going. Like Matt Seidel, the Zen thing he does that worked. It comes with a lot of thinking and a lot of thoughts, but it works. So I just do them. I just say, I like your character, let's do this. Or and then some people ask me to do them. So I'm like, let's do it. Yeah, and I think, what's your character? And I think of a promo and just they come. I'll tell you what though. Every promo I've done has been improvised. There's no script, nothing. There's not even like, we literally just go off and let's just start the promo and just see where it goes every time.
It's great, and I hope you keep doing them because this is what wrestling is, right? Just like silly bits to kind of pop yourself, and then it gets over, and then next thing you know, you're on national television every single week.
Next thing you know, the whole world's doing this. You know what I mean?
All right. Well, I was gonna ask another energy drink question, but let's get into the scissoring here. You scissored Daddy Ass.
I did. Wait, before we go to that, I want to hear the question of energy drinks.
Okay. So my other energy drink question was like, have you thought about like reviewing energy drinks as like either a quick video or even a longer video?
That was the first Power Punch Power Minute promo I ever did. It was on a Power Punch Bang. It was a review of that drink. Okay. That was the first one I ever did. Hilarious. I edited it up. I made myself fart in the video. It was just really funny. Like I put the sound effect on the farting sound because I thought it'd be funny. But yeah, my first ever promo was. But I think I'm gonna do more reviews soon. Now back to Daddy Ass. Yes, I did scissor him. Yes, it was crazy. The fans went wild. It was funny as shit.
I saw the video, and look, Billy Gunn, legend in the industry. The fact that he is still he's still in the shape he is in at his age, and just a giant man in every sense of the word. And the fact that he is now still breathed new life into himself with the Acclaim and scissoring, it's fantastic. I love that scissoring has become a thing. And he goes to these independent shows. You know, we've had Fodder and Sheik and Jameson on about Championship District Wrestling, and he's there. He was with you for your title win. Like, it's great that he's going to these shows and hanging out and doing these things and helping the independent scene out by doing this stuff.
Yeah, I love all wrestling and seeing all wrestling thrive. TV, indies, everything is just beautiful, and that's something I want to do. Like, when I'm on TV every week, I want to be able to help the indie scene out too. You know, it's something I want to do because the indies have given me so much, you know, so I always want to just give. I always want to give and give back. So I've been given a lot. So I just try to always, and every situation I'm in, I always want to be the giver, you know, because I just think it's better that way. I feel like you give it, the more you give, the better you feel. The more you help, the better you feel, the better you're helping other people, and it doesn't hurt yourself to help. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been to some of these district championship wrestling shows myself and seen Daddy Ass in person, and he is a specimen amongst just regular human beings. Like $6 a sore thumb, dude's huge. Speaking of that, dude, I really hope Jameson and Baron Black, those guys, I hope they're listening, because I really want to see you in CDW. I want to see you in Battle Slam, like these shows that I get to go to locally. I really want to see you more in the Atlanta scene, man.
I would love that. Definitely, District's killing it. Battle Slams, even they're killing both. They're all killing it, you know. And Atlanta is always fun to be in. The crowds there are freaking phenomenal. So yeah, I would love to be a part of those companies. Definitely think they would enjoy the power punch.
Yeah. I definitely agree.
Work at District is phenomenal too.
It is. It's very professional. I mean, Nightmare Factory, them Battle Slam. I mean, all being from that same group. I mean, it's really in the buzz they've generated in a short time is for both companies has been really really cool to see. So yeah, I really hope to see you in these companies, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. Hopefully happen soon. I really hope so. I've been watching. I watch, I take notes, and I see everything. So I appreciate that.
Last one from me, and we'll get you out of here on this.
Dude.
Coolest thing in your room.
In my room?
Yeah, ask everyone. You got to go get it.
Well, hold on. I have really cool candles. I guess that's cool, right?
Yeah. Whatever you think's the coolest.
I have a collection of really cool candles. My fiance bought me for Christmas like 30 or 40 candles, and I'm just a very big like seasonal guy. Like, I love seasons. I love Halloween. I love fall. So I got this candy corn scented candle. Freaking phenomenal. I didn't even put it on yet, but I can smell it. I can't wait to put it on. Yeah. So the coolest thing in my room probably be my candles and my fiance.
Okay. Well, can you go? Can you go pick up Can you go get the candles for us?
Can I get them for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll wait for you.
Yeah, got you right here.
They ask him to
go
pick up his fiance.
You made my pages now.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got. Oh my gosh, look at this.
Leather.
Okay.
I don't even like leather smell, but let's see. White icing cinnamon roll.
Oh, that's gotta smell delicious.
Oh my god,
that's gotta smell delicious.
That makes you really hungry.
Peppermint.
Yep.
Can't go wrong with good peppermint.
Oh, you can't. Decorating the tree. So I guess we'll do that one when we're doing the tree again. Tree cutting. I guess you can do that when you're cutting the tree, I guess. Snow-covered trees. Come on, there's more. Classic Christmas tree. Jesus. How much can one get of trees?
Enough tree candles to last you a lifetime.
No, there's more. Let's go.
The big moment I've had. Evening crafts.
Okay.
This is apple, pear, and cedarwood for the fall.
Okay.
That's really good, actually. Holy shit. Wild mint birch. I don't know why. This one's okay. It smells like.
Taste.
Let's see. Cool harvest morning. That one's good. Sorry, this is like the best thing I've ever done on a podcast.
Yeah, no. See, forget all the energy drink reviews. You just saw candle reviews.
Yeah, we need candle reviews. This is fascinating.
Like Review Braw's got like it covered for the review of the week with the food. Like we got a candle guy here.
Here it is. Spiked pumpkin donut. That one's good.
Oh,
yeah,
that seems like it would be good.
Like Dunkin' Donuts in October.
Coffee House. Even more. I should keep that one out. Let's see. Sugar cookie dough.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
So many of these would make me so hungry if I was burning those in my house.
Well, here it is.
Candy corn. Do you like candy corn?
I love candy corn.
This is a very divisive question around the Halloween time.
Yeah, he said he loves it.
I love candy corn. A fan gave me a bag of candy corn at a show at a show in the fall. Oh, let's see who this one is. Oh shit. Trick or Treat it's called. Well, that's good. Look.
So that one could be bad if it was a trick. They could have it smelling like farts or something.
Like shit. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
it's like the Harry Potter jelly beans.
Right?
Yes. I had those.
Oh, that's risky. I've had those. That's a risky game right there.
Very risky game. I did them last year for Christmas, and it was phenomenal. Oh wait, I got some more. Hold on. This one is Spooky Buddies. So like. It's weird flavor, but then we got more. Hold on.
I believe his fiance is just handing him different candles here, which is awesome.
Yeah, this is my moment. Switzerland, delicious. I don't know what Switzerland smells like, but it smells good.
Neutral.
Cookie Shop, cinnamon spice. That's gonna be next. That's over here. And last but not least, hold on. Shit. Candle infested. Penguin cookie crumble.
Oh,
okay.
Yep. One of the kids obsessed with penguins. She would love this.
Yep.
Absolutely love this.
I was expecting like maybe a handful of candles. That was a lot of candles.
Sorry,
quite the collection.
I love candles.
No, do not apologize. That was
a candle gimmick, but
yeah. It's some sort of candle making gimmick.
They got another candle spooky gimmicks. This is a really actual good candle gimmick where you know it's different scents and everything. The other candles, they just have it up behind them and then they do black magic witchcraft.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is completely different. That was great. Oh man, I'm gonna now implore fans to. They can still bring you candy corn candy, but like. Bring little candles. Why not? Bring some candles.
It's a merchandise opportunity. I feel like you should have candles at your merch stand with like your face on it. This should this should be like that episode of The Office where who was this like they put like Phyllis's face on like a jar of salsa or whatever.
Oh
like, like just Vinny's face on a candle, and like you'll be the candle. Dude, here's the thing. I unironically do really like candles. I don't have the collection like you do, but I usually do have a few around my place. I buy a candle from your merch table.
Hell yeah, that's a great idea. I may even make energy drink candle smell if they have that. They'll have it soon.
It'll be brand synergy. When your energy drink comes out, you'll have the Vinny marshmallow energy candle and be good to go here.
The energy candle. We got the technology to where the candle burns and you stand over it and you inhale it and it gives you a boost.
Caffeine.
Yes. Oh man, we're inventing new drugs here on the spotlight.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what we did.
You guys made my week. I can't even get over this.
Well, you made our week for joining us on the show here. Thank you very much for being a guest here. Let everybody know where they can find you at, all the socials, any upcoming shows, anything you want to plug and promote.
Oh, God. Vinny Pacifico is my Instagram. Vinny Pacifico is my Facebook. And Vinny Pacifico 1 is my Twitter.
There you go.
Upcoming shows?
Follow him on Twitter.
I was going to say, like, upcoming shows, anything else?
Oh, yeah, tons of upcoming shows. DOA, a bunch of PNW wrestling in February. I have a red carpet appearance coming up. Wink, wink. What else? Magic against Cheeseburger. My first title defense for my PWM Junior Heavyweight Championship belt. SOS Wrestling. Northeast Wrestling this weekend. A lot. There's a lot. So and a lot of things in the works. So a lot more, but there's gonna be a lot more Northwest wrestling also, and California. So really hope for those things, and I'm hoping to soon get back to Atlanta very soon. Oh, also, wasn't announced yet, but people know about it already. I'm gonna be in the New South Hoss tournament.
Oh, nice! That's a great tournament every year. Love that. That'll be fun. Awesome. I'll definitely watch that. And I'll review it on the Fightful Select Weekender podcast for everyone who's listening to this over there on FightfulSelect.com. I'll tell you all about that show after it happens.
Sounds great.
Follow Vinny on Twitter. He'll keep you up to date on all of his appearances and energy drinks. And it's just a fun follow. I see you interact with a lot of different people. Very fun follow on Twitter as I was scrolling through tonight before everything. So thank you for joining us again. Really much appreciated. Good luck with everything this weekend, next weekend, 2023 in general. I'm really looking forward to watching your career progress this year and beyond. So again, thank you for joining us here on the show today. Guys, we'll be right back here on the Spotlight. Thank you again to Vinny Pacifico for joining us on the Creators Spotlight. Great guy, very nice guy. The candle collection, already receiving rave reviews from the wife. I hope everybody enjoyed that. Go give him a follow. Go support him. Go check him out. We got Vinny Pacifico energy drinks and candles coming out in 2023. It's gonna happen. We're gonna make this happen. We make things happen here on the show. Everyone, thank you for joining us today on the show. Appreciate everybody hanging out in the chat, interacting, who sent the super chats, who gave us a thumbs up, who just watched and tuned in. A lot of content today on Fightful, youtube.com/Fightful, 3 p.m. Eastern, day after Dynamite with Will Washington reviewing last night's Dynamite. Don't know who the guest is. I will probably be there. I'm typically most weeks there, so I will be there popping up. That's at 3 p.m. Eastern here on youtube.com/Fightful. Will Washington, day after Dynamite, 8 p.m. Eastern. I guess you can watch Impact, or you can watch the Fightful Awards show with Will Washington, with Denise Salcedo, with Sean Ross Sapp. They will be presenting the Fightful Awards to everybody who has won them. Yes. The awards are voted on by members of Fightful Select, so they are fan awards. We do not show our bias too much. We are not like Stephen Jensen and paid by AEW to where all the AEW people are going to just win these awards. They're voted on by, I'm sure, some of the people listening to this on Fightful Select. So everybody can go to Fightful Select now, subscribe, $5 a month, gets you breaking news, all the best wrestling news in the business, get you exclusive early access to interviews, things of that nature. Go over there, Fightful Select. Head over to FightfulOverbooked.com. That is our sister YouTube channel where myself and a lot of other content creators put out different videos. We have Tag Talk every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern on Fightful Overbooked with Haley and Kylie talking about the world of tag team wrestling. We have Tim and Joel at 8 p.m. I think on Sunday now, 8 p.m. Eastern Pacific. No, 8 p.m. Eastern. I think on Sundays, I think it's at 8 p.m. They switch time slots like every single week on that show. But they have that show Coexisting with Rob and Maggie Fridays at 3. I'll be on Coexisting After Dark this week. I'm actually about to record that interview here in just a second, so I'm sure that'll go well. So Coexisting After Dark, but Coexisting, the live show, 3 p.m. on Fridays. A new episode of the series is dropping in about 15 minutes on Fightful Overbooked. Everyone can go check that out. I look at the Rock and Steve Austin rivalry, specifically for part 1, their match at WWF In Your House D-Generation X. Go check that out. I'm back on Twitch, at least for one time this week. I hope to be a little bit more consistent with that, but I'm not going to make any promises. I promise I will do more than I did in 2022. But I played WWF WrestleMania. That video is up on Fightful Overbooked. Again, go to Fightful Overbooked. We have new content almost every day, but a lot of great content creators hanging out and supporting and creating content for all of you guys and, dedicating their time and their effort to bring people different perspectives on the world of wrestling and not wrestling, as FMC on Tuesdays with myself and SP3 and Share Delaware, where we talk about basketball and Share's lack of dating life. So you can go check that out as well. Guys, thank you. Thank you for joining us. I think I've plugged everything that I needed to plug. Day After Dynamite, award show, all that fun stuff. Go to Fightful.com. We're always dropping news and vague gifts and eye emojis and all of that such. Thank you, Hiram. Appreciate you. Hope you're doing well. Everyone enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Everyone enjoy your weekend. Have a good day, night, afternoon, wherever you're at in the world. Bye, everybody.